can start. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So here we're starting the Hajj seminar, and the majority of the people are at home listening on GoToMeeting. So inshallah we're going to try to go through this. I prepared the slide, so we'll go step by step inshallah, every step of the way. If there are any questions, instead of asking through the setup of GoToMeeting, it gets a little bit difficult. You can either email the questions, text the questions, or save the questions inshallah, and there we can answer the questions later on. So hopefully inshallah you can take notes. If there is some confusion or some concern, you can always ask the questions later inshallah, but we're just going to go for the sake of time and brevity through it step by step.
We have a Hajj WhatsApp group. You can ask the questions there. This way we keep track and we'll answer whatever we can, we'll ask later.
Okay, so Mona Faisal is saying there is a Hajj WhatsApp group. So everybody who's going is on that group. You can ask your questions through there. We'll keep track of the questions there, and we'll make sure every single question gets answered inshallah. So just use that facility inshallah for the questions. So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, the very first thing we'll start off with, which is the main shart or precondition for going for Umrah or for Hajj, is the Ihram. So that's where everything starts off from, is donning the Ihram. And there's a separate difference between the Ihram of a man and the Ihram of a woman. So there's two things we're going to discuss. One is the clothing of the Ihram, the two pieces of white cloth for men, or in the case of the sisters, whatever they choose to make their Ihram from their normal dress. So one is the clothing of Ihram, and then there's going to be a different discussion, which is going to be the state of Ihram, when a person is halat Ihram. So there's a fundamental difference between the two, and we'll discuss those as we go on inshallah. First point, before getting into the state of Ihram, right? One is allowed to, it's jaiz. Rather, it's good if a person trims the hair, clips the nails, and has family marital relations. What we're talking about here is just like it's mustahab before Salatul Jum'ah. The next several days is going to be many days when a person is going to be devoted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the Ihram, we cannot cut our hair, we cannot trim the nails, we cannot put on perfume. So before getting to Ihram, we should do all of these things. These are like the mustahab and sunnah things to do. One should take a shower. If a person cannot take a shower, then the next best thing is to make wudu. The only time you probably wouldn't be able to take a shower is if a person is on the plane, right? So these are amongst the mustahabbat. They're very rewarding that we're about to put on the Ihram. So ghusl, just like for Salatul Jum'ah, we like to perform our ghusl, and then we come to the masjid. Similarly for Ihram, if a person can, we should opt for making ghusl. Just a point in passing that this specific ghusl of the Ihram that we're talking about, this is not as a precondition or a shart for the Ihram. It's for cleanliness, nadafat. It's not like taking the ghusl for Salatul Jummah in the exact sense. So what's the difference between the two? The main difference is this, specifically for the ladies. If one of our ladies or sisters is in her menstrual cycle, she's in her hayd. So for them, if they take a ghusl or don't take a ghusl, you're not going to come out of your halat of hayd, you're not going to come out of your menstrual cycle. But this particular ghusl that we're talking about for the Ihram, since it's for cleanliness and nadafat, even they should take a ghusl, right? So it's not for gaining taharat, it's just for cleanliness and nadafat. So everyone, as much as possible, should try to cleanse themselves in Ihram, because as we're going to see later on, inshallah, in Ihram, we're not going to be allowed to use a lot of these things for cleanliness. Third point, after we have done these things, taken a shower, clipped the nails, put the perfume on, we'll put on the Ihram clothing. Right? For men, you'll wear the two pieces of unstitched cloth. Unstitched cloth, a lot of people, they get confused about this. When you buy your Ihram towel, a person will see stitching, like on the hem, on the side of it. On this one side and this one side, you'll see some parts are stitched. That's not what we're talking about. When we're talking about stitched clothing, we mean like a kurta or a qamis or shalwar, where it's stitched in a specific form that hugs and rubs around the body, and it makes a specific form, like a leg and another leg, or a sleeve, a collar. We're talking about stitched like that. So when we talk about that, a person can use a towel, or a person can use sheets where the sheet itself has some stitching on it. Sometimes they have like even these towels, designs on it and so forth. There's no problem in that, so don't worry about those things. That's not contradictory to being unstitched. So one piece will be for the lower body, another piece will be for the top body, and the other part of ihram for the men is going to be the footwear, the shoes, and we're going to discuss that about in the next slide or two. What kind of shoes and footwear are we allowed to wear? Women, you will wear the normal clothing. The only difference between a woman's ihram and her normal clothing is that if she normally wears her niqab and she covers her face, their ihram is going to be that their face remains uncovered, in a sense that there's no cloth touching the face. No cloth is allowed to touch the face. So if a woman is habitual, she's adi of wearing niqab, so what is she supposed to do when she goes for Hajj? In the time of Sahaba, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a lot of the azwaj mutahharat, our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, she also went for ihram, but they also covered their face. So the way that they would do it is that they wouldn't have anything normally, right? If people came around, if strange men and other men came around, they would lower their hijab so that it doesn't touch their face, but that their face couldn't be seen. So from that, the scholars and the jurists and the fuqaha, they've permitted for women, if they want to cover their face but it not touch their face, they've permitted different ways and styles for them to do this. One of the more common ones is that the ladies, they can cover their head. They're supposed to cover their head, so they can wear a hat. And they have those hats that have the bill that comes out. It sticks out from the top of the head and it protrudes outward. So what they can do is that from that bill of the cap, they can hang a piece of cloth. So it's not going to touch their face. It'll be 4 to 6 inches away from their face, but it's going to kind of hang down and it'll give them that sense of parda. So this is the beginning discussion of the ihram, but still this is only the clothing of ihram we're talking about. A person can wear the clothing, but not be in the state of ihram. Like even right now, if I go home, I can put on 2 towels. I can wear my ihram that I bought for Hajj. That doesn't mean I'm in ihram now. So just having the clothing on, that's not the state of ihram. So this slide, what we're going to talk about is how do you get into the state of ihram, halat ihram, when all of the rules apply. So there's some other preconditions and shariat for that. How do we get into ihram? Number one, this is again, it's not wajib, but it's amongst the mustahabbat. If we want to do Hajj, mashallah, we want to make sure we do Hajj the beautiful way, the way that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had done it, and the way that's going to get us the most reward. So the first thing we start off with is pray 2 rakats of nafil. So nafil, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had done so we follow in the footsteps. Pray 2 rakats of nafil. In the first rakat, we recite Surah Fatiha and Surah Kafirun. And in the second rakat, Surah Fatiha and Surah Ikhlas, Qul Huwallahu Ahad. These 2 surahs are going to repeat again and again. We'll see inshallah later on in the slides when we start talking about tawaf. After finishing a tawaf, there's 2 rakats of namaz. And in that namaz, the very first rakat again comes Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun, and the second rakat, Qul Huwallahu Ahad. So just be prepared that we're going to be reciting these 2 surahs abundantly throughout the entire journey of Hajj, inshallah. So for ihram, to get into the state of ihram, a person will wear the clothing. We'll put on our 2 sheets, right? But we need to get into ihram. So now wearing those 2 sheets, a person is going to start a nafil namaz, right? The men will then uncover the head, right? Women will remove the niqab. After finishing this namaz, while doing this namaz, you can keep your head covered. And the sisters can keep their face covered. But after the namaz is over, then we make sure we take the shoes away, put on the sandals. We make sure that if we have any topi, if we have any hat, we remove the hat. So this is what we'll do. We'll uncover the head. We'll remain seated after the namaz and make the niyyah and make the intention. So the intention is very easy. It can be done in Arabic, it can be done in Urdu, in English, whatever language a person feels comfortable. In English, oh Allah, I intend to perform Umrah, right? Later on, inshallah, you're going to change this when you're going to get into ihram of Hajj, and a person makes a niyyah, oh Allah, I intend to perform Hajj. So accept it from me and make it easy for me. Most of us are going to be doing Hajj Tamattu. Hajj Tamattu is the most popular type of Hajj. Basically, what this type of Hajj means is that you get 2 Hajjs for the price of 1. So what do I mean by that? We get an Umrah, which is the lesser Hajj, and then we get the normal Hajj, which is called Hajj al-Akbar, the bigger Hajj. So a person gets the reward of 2 Hajjs, but on 1 trip, right? And these are going to be done with 2 different states of ihram, right? 2 different states of ihram. It can be the very same ihram clothing. Some people, they have a misunderstanding, and some Hajj groups, they probably have a misunderstanding too. Mawlana Faizan was telling me that one group was saying that, yes, we will provide you with 1 ihram, but you need to bring the 2nd ihram. You don't physically need 2 ihrams. It's just that a person performs Umrah in ihram. After the Umrah is finished, you come out of the state of ihram. And then you wait around in Makkah Mukarramah for several days until the days of Hajj start. And then you come back into the state of ihram. So you take a break from your ihram. So this is a Hajj Tamattu. There's a different type of Hajj called Hajj Qiran, which basically means that you do both of the Hajjs, the Umrah and the Hajj Akbar, but you never take off the ihram from the beginning of the Umrah going all the way till the end of Hajj. This is the most difficult type of Hajj. It's got the most reward, but it's very difficult because you're going to be in your ihram for like 2 weeks. And it's not really advised because a person will probably do a lot of things against the ihram, which will cause a lot of kafara to be paid for, like dam that a person has to pay. So tamattu is the most common one. Inshallah, we'll discuss about that. So after putting on the ihram clothing, the men, you put on the stitched clothing, the 2 white pieces of cloth. For the sisters, you choose whatever is going to be your ihram. You pray 2 rakats nafil, preferably with Surah Kafirun and then Surah Ikhlas. Then a person remains seated after you finish your namaz. Now what you want to do, for the men, take off the topi, put the topi to the side because we're about to come into the state of ihram. For the sisters, if you have your niqab, now you take off your niqab and do whatever else that you're going to do to try to cover your face and so forth without it touching your face. Then we make our niyyah. Allahumma inni uridu al-umrata. Oh Allah, I intend to perform umrah. فَتَقَبَّلْهَا مِنِّي وَيَسِّرْهَا لِي. That, oh Allah, I intend to perform umrah. Make it easy for me and accept it from me. Or in Urdu or in Farsi, whatever language a person wants. Very simple. It's just this action from the heart. A person is still not in the state of ihram yet. There's one thing that is still left. So the jurists and the fuqaha have mentioned that with this niyyah, some of the actions of that umrah or hajj have to take place concurrent to that particular niyyah. The most famous is talbiyah. So a person finished namaz, person made the niyyah, make sure the topi is off, then a person will recite the talbiyah. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik labbaik la sharika laka labbaik innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. So this is some of those actions or af'al of umrah or hajj that are coupled with the niyyah. As soon as a person recites these kalimat, now you're in the state of ihram. The head cannot be covered, a person cannot clip the nails, can't do the hair, can't do all those things because the state of ihram, the rules start now, the ticker starts from now. So when it comes to this talbiyah, if a person recites it 3 times, that's good, that's best. One time is sufficient. Reciting it by tongue, yani that's the way that it has to be done, for men loudly, for women in a lower tone. And the wording is there on the screen. We have it in Arabic. And then there's also transliteration where it's Arabic but with the English letters. And then there's a tarjuma. What is Labaik Allahumma Labaik? Stands for here I am, O Allah. Labaik, O Allah, I am at your service. So Labaik is that term that's used like when a person has a servant, and that servant is ready and willing and looking forward to serve his master. So it's got a very beautiful connotation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invited us for Hajj. Allah is inviting us to come to his house. And a person responds with his labaik, that, oh Allah, I am at your service. Like whatever you ordered me to do, I am here to serve you, oh Allah. I am your banda, I am your abd. You are my Rabb, oh Allah, order me with whatever you like. So here I am, oh Allah, here I am at your service. And by the way, oh Allah, I make this declaration, you have no partner. And again, here I am, again and again, labaik, 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 I'm at your service. So a person kind of has to kind of get into that mindset. At whole of Hajj, the entirety of Hajj, right? A person can completely ruin the Hajj by misunderstanding and not knowing the importance of Hajj. What is he doing there, right? Outwardly, if you look at it, what am I doing? I'm going in circles around a black box in the desert. I'm running between two mountaintops. There's millions of people who are there who are smelly, who are sweating, right? So a person who doesn't understand the reality of Hajj, that what's really going on, just losing the logic and the intellect, a person will be like, what kind of religion is this? You know, you tell your coworkers at work, yes, I'm going to go around. It's like, are you doing a marathon around a black box? What's going on? What is this laps going around? So every single one of these different acts of ibadah, there's some haqiqah to it. And the entirety of Hajj, all of the different actions that we'll be doing, inshallah, it goes back to one sunnah of either one of the anbiya or one of the awliya. Like when a person goes for Hajj, Ibrahim alayhi salatu salam, he was ordered to rebuild the Kaaba. And then Allah instructed Ibrahim alayhi salatu salam that make the proclamation, وَأَذِّن لِلنَّاسِ فِي الْحَجِّ, make the adhan, proclaim for the entire of mankind for Hajj. And from that time, the people have been making the labaik and going to visit. When a person goes between Safa and Marwa, that is the sunnah of our mother, Bibi Hajar alayhi salatu salam, when she was looking for water and little Ismail is there. So we need to do a little bit of background reading. What is the history behind all of these different af'al? And we come to Hajj with this mindset that I am here in the obedience of Allah, at the service of Allah. Oh Allah, whether it makes sense or doesn't make sense to me, whether it's logical or not logical, this is a journey of love and mahabbah. It's a journey of love and mahabbah. Oh Allah, you've ordered me to do this, and here I am, here I am. So this labaik signifies that. So you're going to be doing labaik a lot. The journey of Hajj that has the most labaik is going to be the most rewarding. Going, you're going to see later on, inshallah, that every step of the way that a person goes, labaik Allahumma labaik. This is the afdal, the best form of dhikr a person could be doing on this journey. So try to get used to it, memorize it. I know it's a little bit difficult, but try to memorize it with the meaning, and also get into the spirit of it. Some people are too shy to raise their voice. Other people, they look at other people that he's looking at me, how am I going to do my labaik? Forget about all those things here. The only focus that we have is that my Allah is watching me, and I'm coming with that jazbah. So we should try to get everybody that jazbah, labaik Allahumma labaik. And you see brothers, mashallah, on the buses and so forth doing the talbiyah. Khair. As a point of fiqh now, what happens if we have some elderly people, some people who cannot memorize the talbiyah, the labaik is too hard, it's like as long as a short surah, I can't do it, what if I mess it up? To get into ihram, a person can use any language, but Arabic is best. Even if that is too hard, then you can see on the bottom, any zikr will suffice. La ilaha illallah, alhamdulillah, subhanallah, any one of those things will suffice to get into the state of ihram. Sometimes people get too excited, they forget, what is it, I forgot how you say it. So Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, alhamdulillah, any of these things will suffice to get into ihram. So let's take some side notes now. What if a person cannot do the 2 rakats nafil? And this happened to us when we were going for Umrah. We're coming from Madinah Munawwara. It just so happened that we left after Asr. So we got to the masjid, Some people prayed Asr, and then after Asr namaz, you cannot pray any nafil. So then we're like, oh, I just prayed my Asr, but I didn't get into my ihram. So how am I going to get into ihram now? Am I supposed to wait till Maghrib and then perform 2 rakats nafil? Or how is this going to work? So there's two ways that this can go. Number one, if a person knows that he's not going to be able to make nafil, but then he goes and he joins the Jamaat for Asr, or he prays his Asr namaz. A person can do all of this, what I just said, after the Fard namaz too. So instead of the 2 rakat nafil namaz, you pray your Asr namaz, and then you sit afterward, you make your niyyah, you do your talbiyah, that will suffice also. But if a person already prayed the Asr namaz, can't do any nafil afterward, but he has to get an ihram, and he cannot do it, he cannot wait till Maghrib, or he doesn't want to, the namaz is just nafil. It's not a shart. It's good, but if a person can't do it, then what you're going to do is without the namaz, you'll wear the ihram, you'll sit there, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make your niyyah, oh Allah, I intend to perform Umrah, or I intend to perform Hajj, and then a person says a labaik, and this is sufficient, this is done also. So this will suffice. Next point, nafil should not be done after Asr Salah for ihram, but can be done before Asr is performed, right? So what does that mean? You haven't performed, it's Asr time, it's 6:30, it's 7 o'clock, right, in our time. You didn't perform your Asr yet. You have not done your Asr namaz yet. You can go quickly pray 2 rakat nafil, get into ihram, and then in the state of ihram afterwards, then pray your Asr namaz. So you don't have to say that, okay, because it's Asr time, I can't do nafil. There's no nafil after praying the Asr namaz. So just kind of keep that in mind. Third point, if a woman is in her hayd, she's in her menses, she's in her menstrual cycle. So what is she supposed to do? She still will take a bath. She should take a bath, because again, this is for cleanliness, this is for nadafat. If for some reason there's no way she can take a bath because she's in an airplane or somewhere else, then at least make wudu. And this wudu is for nadafat and cleanliness also. Then she should sit facing the qibla, and without making any namaz, she'll make the niyyah and the intention and recite the talbiyah. And this is going to take her into the state of ihram. She will not perform any namazes. Right? Now, once we're in the state of ihram, we have to make sure, very cautious, we don't do anything to break the rules of ihram. And the first couple of hours, we're not used to this. No matter how many times we've been for Umrah, we always forget. And everybody always does this. As soon as we're done, finish the namaz, we're in ihram, a person will go use the bathroom, make istinja, come outside and quickly put soap in the hand and wash the hands. And then later on, astaghfirullah, the soap is scented. Mufti Sahib, what do I do? Right? So get into the focus right now that as soon as that ihram is on, the whole group helps each other out. Be careful, be cautious. The Saudi scholars have a different view. So even in your Hajj camp, when you're in Mina and you're in different places or so forth, even in the Haram, their view is slightly different from our view. They'll have perfumed and scented soaps, but according to them, it's fine. According to us, it's not fine because it's still scented. It still gives off a scent. They actually add fragrance to it. They add perfume and itar to it. So be very, very cautious. Another point, another place to be very cautious, because this happened to us, when you're making tawaf. You're in your ihram, and then the cleaning crew, they're always cleaning. You'll see they're always cleaning the masjid, or they're cleaning between the mountains of Safa and Marwa. And on the floor, they use these different chemicals and liquids. And then there's a separate guy that comes afterward. He's got rose water in a big tank. And he's spraying down the entire area with rose water, which is heavily scented. You can smell the khushbu, you can smell the fragrance. And then you're going to be walking on that thing with your bare feet, or sometimes that liquid will come on your ihram. According to them, it's fine, ya akhi, it's not teeb. According to us, it's teeb. This is teeb, this is scent, this is perfume. So it's going to cause you to maybe sacrifice a sheep. So be very, very careful, be very vigilant. If you see the cleaning crew, just stop, stay back. Let it dry up, all of that liquid stuff, and then continue on with the tawaf or with the sa'i. So just a note of caution there. So what are the prohibitions of ihram? If we got into the state of ihram, what do we need to worry about? basically the verse, Al-Hajju Ashurun Ma'lumat. Hajj, it's very known months. Everybody knows which are the months of Hajj. So, فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجِّ, whoever Hajj becomes fard upon him during this time, فَلَا رَفَث, there's no rafath, وَلَا فُسُوق, وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. Right? Rafath is basically when a person has intimate discourse or talk, which is at the onset or right before a person becomes intimate with the missus. There's certain kind of talk that takes place. So that's rafath. So there's no kind of talk like that. No focus on any kind of like physical intercourse with the wife and so forth. And any other kind of that kind of language. Then during the times of Hajj, none of that. Wala fusuq, any times of sin, any types of guna, all forms of fisq and fujur is bad. It's a sin. In the state of ihram, it gets multiplied. Some scholars said that when you go to the haram, for example, the haram in Makkah Mukarramah, your salah is 100,000 times more reward. But then they also mentioned that if a person commits a sin, commits a guna, it's 100,000 times that guna and that sin. So we have to be very careful when we scream, when we yell, when we make ghiba, backbite, carry tales, break somebody's heart, joke around and so forth. Astaghfirullah, this is not the place for those things. So there's no fusuq, wala jidala fil hajj, and finally no fighting in Hajj. So that is the ayah. But from there, the ulama just discussed and they've brought out more points through the ahadith. Number one, marital relations or intimate talks of it. That's that rafath that we're talking about. There is no rafath, no jima, no intercourse, no talk of it, no inclination towards it, and any of those things. Or preparations for it. This is exactly what rafath is talking about. Number two, fusuq. This is not permissible to commit any sin. Committing any sin in ihram is worse for both men and women. Third part, al-jidal. Jidal, fighting. So this journey of Hajj, this is a journey of sabr, of tolerance. We have to have patience. This is our one chance and our one shot. Allah has invited us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the host. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing from the 3 million people that are coming to his da'wah, who is going to be the best Haji? Who's the one that's going to have the most tolerance? Who's going to have the most patience? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing. And these 3 million Hajis that are going to go for Hajj, they represent the remainder of us 2 billion Muslims. This is the delegations. This is the ummah. This is the representation. So no fighting, no arguing, no losing the temper, no matter how long a person has to wait. When I went last year, and I was on a VIP group, right? I got invited to go. And this is like one of the highest packages that a person, normally you pay the ticket for, is the VIP Hajj groups. And this is where Allah tests you. Before the trip really even began, before the Umrah could even get started, at the airport, everybody's bags came. The luggage came through, except for my bags. Me and maybe 2 or 3 other people. And we had to wait there for like 4 hours. Waiting and waiting. The rest of the group, there's about 72 people in our group. And there's about 2 or 3 of us that have to wait. And because we're waiting, every last 72 people are waiting also. They're sitting on the bus. There's nothing that we can do about it. It's completely out of our hands. Who are you going to complain to? Who are you going to fight and argue? Where's my bags? And when a person goes to the airport person looks at you like, I'm not going to do anything. I don't have time for this. Why? Because he's dealing with 3 million people. So have mercy upon yourself. Have mercy upon other people. Just don't lose your temper. So I was just sitting there for 4 hours. But in my mind, I said, Ya Allah, this is your imtihan, this is your test. I'm going to show you, inshallah, that this is my sabr. If I don't make Hajj, I don't make Hajj, but I'll have my sabr. If my luggage is lost, my money is lost, my everything is lost, Ya Allah, you lost it. And you're testing me. So no argumentation, no worries. You're the guest of Allah, Allah will take care of you. It just so happened right before Maghrib, the luggage was found, everything was okay. I got on the bus, and it was a ni'mah. It was a blessing that bag got lost. Main reason being is that every single one of us could pray Maghrib Salat then and there and then go on our journey. Because sometimes these bus people, there's differences of opinion. Some people, they don't stop for you. They say we'll make Maghrib afterwards when we reach there because you know that there's people of different madhabs and different views. Because they're musafir, they'll pray their salawat, they'll make jama between the salawat. Some people have that opinion, other people don't. So for me, I was like, alhamdulillah, this is good. I got a chance to make my maghrib. So don't worry about those things. So there's no jidal, no fighting, no arguing, both men and women. Next point that we have here, hunting or assisting in any way in a hunt. Nowadays, it doesn't really apply, but back in the olden days, when you would go for Hajj, sometimes it would take you 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, because they would go by boat. There's no airplane, and along the way, the person is hunting. So if a person is in ihram, there's no hunting. You can't hunt. You can't harm any animals or any people. Next, applying fragrance, applying perfume. There's no more applying perfume for men and for women. This is both. So even though a person is sweaty, and khususan our sisters, they don't like to sweat, they don't like to smell bad. In Hajj, we have to get used to it. We're coming to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everybody's on the same level. Whether a person is a king, whether a person is a slave, whether a person is a servant, a person is a bathroom cleaner. Everybody is on the same stage before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, same ihram, same everything, no showing any kind of dignity of one over the other. We present ourselves as we are before Allah. Clipping nails, no clipping of the nails. We leave them as is. Cutting the hair, if a person cuts their own hair, or if you have like a barber cut your hair, both of them are still not permissible. Nobody can cut your hair, nobody can remove any hair in any way, shape, or form for men or for women. Covering the face, women cannot cover the face, men cannot cover the face, both of us. And a person is sleeping, be careful. A lot of people have the habit that they'll take the shawl or they'll take the blanket and they'll cover their face. You cannot cover your face. If you cover your face for a very long time, you have to be careful because you might have to pay a penalty. And khususan over there in the tents, the AC units will be blasting and it can get very cold at nighttime. Or in Muzdalifa, sometimes, now it's in summer, you don't have to worry too much, but a person might have the habit to cover his face with a blanket. Be careful you don't cover your face. As for covering of the head, women will cover their head, but men, you cannot cover your head. So there's no topi and you cannot take your ihram and cover your head. So be careful when you're doing that. Do not cover the head. If a person does cover the head, there could be some penalty. Stitched clothing, this is for men only. We don't wear stitched clothing. No kurta, no shalwar, nothing like that. By the way, even if a person has some sickness or some illness, even bandages on the head or on the face when you cover something. Nowadays, when you go there, you're going to see some people, they wear that mask, which is for dust, or like in the hospital nurse mask. According to this, you wear that thing, you have to pay a penalty. Some scholars, some people might be permitting it for them for some reason, but according to us, if you wear that kind of dust mask, that's going to require a person to give a penalty and so forth. If a person wears it for the majority of the day, you have to slaughter a sheep. So be careful you don't cover the face, even for those things. If a person has a sickness, you can do it, there's no guna, but you still have to pay the penalty. Next, final thing, shoes that cover the protruding center bone of the feet. And this is for the men, right? So what we're going to talk about in the next slide is what has to be left exposed. What kind of chappals, what kind of sandals can we wear? So if you look at these pictures that I have on screen, there's some sandals on the right-hand side of the screen and some sandals on the left-hand side of the screen. The ones that are on the right side are okay. So here, if you follow the cursor, this is fine. This is the most unanimously accepted form of sandals is your thong sandal. The one strap goes this way, one strap goes this way, and that's it. So this is the protruding bone we're talking about right here. This part has to remain exposed, right? So this part right over here, that bone that sticks out right over there, that has to remain exposed. Any kind of footwear that exposes that bone is going to be permissible. If we look down here, this is another kind of sandal. It's got the strap going over the toes here, but here where the protruding bone is going to be, the foot bone, there's nothing covering it, so this would be okay. This is a side view of the same kind of sandal. The protruding bone will be somewhere around here, it's fine. This is another version of something similar where the foot bone will be exposed over here. This strap goes on the top part, way above high in the ankle, so it's not really going to affect anything. The place where a person ties your shoes, that's the place where you want to have it exposed. Even this one in this picture, again, the one on the right, that is okay, because see the foot bone is right here. The foot bone is right here and it is exposed. So this one is okay. Even though it looks like some form of weird shoe, it's fine. As long as this remains exposed, it's fine. This one on the left is not fine. You see it's covered. That foot bone is covered. Although they're both similar, this one is fine, this one is not fine. This one down here, the sandal is not fine. Why? Because it covers that area where a person ties the shoe. This kind of footwear is also not fine because it's coming up to where the shoelaces are tied and it covers the foot bone. And similarly, this one is also not fine because of the same reason, it covers up the foot bone area. Other scholars over there, they might give you a different opinion because there's a difference of opinion. According to other scholars, it's your ankle bones, the two that's on the side of the foot. They say this bone over here, right? And this difference of opinion stems forth because of terminology in Arabic. This is called Ka'b, Ka'b. Kaaba is also called the Kaaba. So what does Ka'b mean? Ka'b means protruding or sticking out, right? So this bone sticks out and this bone sticks out. So the hadith mentions that you should wear shoes or khufs below the Ka'b, right? So some people take this to be the Ka'b, which is your ankle bone on your left and right, and they say as long as it's underneath that, it's fine. Our scholars in the Hanafi madhab have said that this is more precaution, that this is what's being referred to, is this is the Ka'b. This is also a protruding bone. So make sure that your shoes do not cover up that particular bone. So from there starts a difference of opinion. You know, any questions? Pretty self-explanatory. Glasses, no problem. If a person needs to wear glasses, spectacles, and all those things, or the sun is kind of very intense and a person wears the shades, it's not a problem. It's not
a mask, right? Not on you, but like let's say you're walking and there's like a sandstorm or something. At that moment, you put it on. It's like
yeah, don't cover the face.
Yeah.
Even for a little bit, if a person kind of covers the face intentionally, you're going to give some form of penalty, a little bit of sadaqah. If it's for the there is a time limit.
Okay.
If it's basically the majority of the day, if a person covers the face for the majority of the day, you have to slaughter a sheep. If it's less time than that, then there's a like sadaqat al-fitr, the amount that we pay for this thing, so you give some form of sadaqah.
Like for the 5 minutes and after that.
Then you just pay some sadaqah. Yeah, there's a little bit of sadaqah, but try to stay away from it because it's not good. But sandstorm happens, something happens, a person forgets. Everybody forgets. Everybody forgets. Oh, I covered my face. Oh, I was sleeping for about 2 hours. The blanket was on my face. It happens, no problem, inshallah. But there is some sort of like a sadaqah person has to give, and that's beneficial anyway for the poor. We'll just try our best not to do anything. But if it happens, inshallah, there's a way around it. What are things which are makruh? Those are things which are haram, impermissible. So what are things that are makruh that we should try to avoid? Number one, try to avoid removing dirt, like even with soap, even though it's not scented. When we're going for Hajj, the most rewarding is when a person is completely just devoted to Allah, he's letting himself go. Allah wants us to let us go. Some people are very like clean freaks. Every 5 minutes I gotta wash my hands, like every namaz I gotta go for a shower. So if a person tries to remove this dirt from the body, even though you're not using perfume soap, even though you're not doing any of those things, no deodorant or anything, just removing even that dirt is makruh, right? When a person goes for Hajj, you're going to get sweaty, you're going to get all these things are going to happen. We just have to kind of like live with it as much as possible. We're not saying don't take a shower at all. What we're saying is like don't have this niyyah that I got to keep on cleaning myself, got to keep on cleaning myself. Oh, I got a cup of sand, this thing over here. Oh, I'm sweating over here. So those things are makruh. There's going to be times for showers. Inshallah, a person will not stink that bad, but try to get out of that mindset. Number two, to comb the hair or to comb the beard. This is something makruh because there's a possibility hair might come out. And removing hair is not permitted. So combing the hair either with a brush, a comb, or even with the hands, constantly stroking the beard, then the hairs will start falling out. And when these hairs fall out, then you have to start kind of giving sadaqah for that as well. Even over scratching the head too much. Scratching really hard. If a person has an itch, no problem, you can scratch it, but just be very careful with it. Over scratching of the beard and the hair where the hair might fall out, be careful. If a person has the habit of doing that too much, it could cause you to give some sadaqah. Same thing, khilal of the beard is just combing of the beard with your fingers. Don't do that too much because it might fall out. Just be careful. You can do khilal. Khilal is sunnah for wudu time, but just be kind of careful because some hairs might kind of come out. And then the person will give, it's a small amount of sadaqah, but we just kind of be very careful. Later on, we're going to do that. If the hair falls out by itself, there's nothing. If we pulled it out. Okay? So sometimes you get in a condition where you don't know if you pulled it out or if it fell out by itself. There, for ihtiyat, we say that, okay, we'll just give some sadaqah. What I normally do is I keep a list of all of the things that I did. Like even for me, I think 3 or 4 times hair came out when I was making wudu. And I just made a note of it. That on this day, 1 hair came out. On this day, 2 hairs came out. On this day, this happened. This day, this happened. And at the end of it, you can kind of sort it all out. You stipulate, okay, I have to give this much, this much, this much in sadaqah. And then we had some poor people over there. We just gave it to one wakil and he gave it out to all the faqirs. Doesn't turn out to be much, but just keep track of it, that's all.
And there's a simple amount.
Yep, there's a set amount. Like the most common amount for some of the crimes, which we'll do later, is going to be the sadaqat al-fitr amount. And there's different amounts. For example, you can use the price of raisins. You can use the price of dates, which is really expensive. It comes like $20. Person can use the price of wheat, which comes like $4. And then there's certain jinayat or certain crimes of ihram where you only give like a handful of wheat, which will be like 50 cents, $1. So those things will later, inshallah, if need be, go into the details of how much is for each crime, but we stay away from these things. The final makruh thing is to eat uncooked food that gives off a sweet scent like cinnamon or mint. Some of these chewing gums, give off a big fragrance and give off sweat. You cannot use those things too. You might have to give it might cause a penalty for that too. So even though it's food, like mint, cinnamon, elaichi, and those things like that, they give off a nice odor, fragrance. People put that in different kind of things. Some of the miswaks have that flavor too. So you have to kind of be careful that if it gives off any kind of khushbu in the mouth, that's also going to be like a form of scent and so forth. We shouldn't use those, stay away from those. So what is then permissible? What's left? What can I do in ihram? So the following things we can do in ihram, mashallah. Number 1, you can take a shower to cool off. It's going to be hot over there. You would have been in the bus for a very long time. You get to the hotel, the very first thing you want to do is to unwind. You can take a shower, but your niyyah is to cool off. Your niyyah is to freshen up. The intention is not that I want to get the dirt off of my body. Right? So you just go under a cold shower and so forth, no problem. Right? Just be careful again when using the soap and the scented soap and those things like that. So that's number 1. So number 2, if I can't cover my head for a man, what do I do in the sun of Saudi Arabia is super hot. It'll burn. You'll burn very fast. So how do I do that? You have to have an umbrella. You have to have an umbrella. If you're not going to take an umbrella, you're going to have a very difficult time, khususan when it comes on the plains of Arafat. So the top picture over here, this is the old school umbrella, the normal umbrella that you have. You can have one of those, no problem. It's on top of your head, but you're not wearing it. It's not attached to your head, right? For the sisters, since they can cover their head, they make some umbrella that has a strap. It straps to their head and then the umbrella comes on top. So they can wear that one, no problem. But for the men, you cannot wear the strap-on umbrella. For the men, the closest thing is this thing. It's a new thing that came out. It's a backpack that has an umbrella canopy. So you're actually wearing it on your back, right? It's a backpack canopy. So it doesn't touch your head. It doesn't touch any part of your body. It's just like a steel frame that comes out and it's a canopy. It's like a tent that you carry around with you.
This thing is like
Yeah, I know. Different people, Allah's blessed different people with their own. Small, I just used from Bin Dawood like a 5 Riyal umbrella. It lasted me, did a job good. Get somebody to put in your backpack, no problem. You know, you can do this. Same thing, same concept. Just nothing touching the head, hanging on top of the head. That's it. You're good to go. You can hold an umbrella. You can sit under a canopy. You can sit inside of a tent. But just be careful. Not everybody has this opinion. The Malikis, you'll find some Malikis. I had some friends who were with me. For them, they're like, no, we're not allowed to even use an umbrella. Very hard, very mushkil for them. But that's another madhab, that's another view. Some people have that. Somebody might speak to you about these things. That, brother, why you have an umbrella? You know, your Hajj is not going to count. So you get different types of people with different kind of views. That's why this Hajj seminar is very important. So we need to know whatever we're learning, because there's different views everywhere. Number 3, brushing the teeth. You can brush your teeth, just don't use anything scented. So if there's miswak, you can use miswak, no problem. Just make sure it's not the scented miswaks. Nowadays they even have scented miswak. Or if they have the toothpaste, don't use the toothpaste. The toothpaste is going to have mint, cinnamon, all those things. Number 4, it's permissible. If you need to take a shot or an injection, you can get the injection, you can get the shot. It's not a problem. Number 5, you can have a pocket. There's different types of pockets. You're in your ihram for men, and you need to carry your passport, you need to carry cash. So you can have a pocket like this pocket that's inside the belt pockets. Yeah, you can have those, no problem. Ihram belts. This one is being worn on, no problem. This guy's got one over here, part of his backpack thing. I don't know what that is. You can carry like a bag, backpack, no problem. Those things are fine. Water bottle and everything like that. Everything. And just since we're on this topic, do yourself a favor, also take a yoga mat. You know the yoga mat, the very thin yoga mat, that's going to be your jainamaz. That's going to be something you sleep on in Muzdalifa. It's going to be a lifesaver all the way around. Just the musalla itself sometimes is too thin. The yoga mats, they roll up and they hook onto your backpack. That's it. So that's going to be your friend in Thailand. They have different sizes. They have different. You can get the big, huge one. You can get a small one. They have thin, thick, whatever. But for me, I had found the right size. Go shopping now. Find yourself a nice yoga mat and take that with you. It'll come in. It'll be a lifesaver. Since we're on that topic also, go to the dollar store and buy extra door hangers. The door hanger, you know, you put the little hanger. It looks like this thing, but it goes on top of the door.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yes, you can find it at a dollar store. They have it over there. What's the benefit of that? When you go to the bathroom, some of them will not have any hangers. So when you need to take your ihram off, you either have to hold it and you're juggling while you're using the bathroom and we're making sure it doesn't get dirty. You just take your own door hanger, hang it over there, take your backpack, take your ihram, put it there, use the bathroom, and then when you're done, the istinja is finished, take it off the hook, take your hook with you and go. Some of the single hook, yeah. They have a single hook, they have a double hook, but just have with you a door hanger. The VIP tents that I went to over there, they had the hooks. Somebody told me they don't have it, but they had it. Maybe the other tents might not have it, and who knows? Some of the public bathrooms might not have it. So those are some things you just take with you. I just thought about it as Naseem mentioned it, by the way. What else is permissible? It's permissible you can cover your whole body with a blanket, except the face and the head. So no problem. A person says that I'm in ihram, what can I do? You can use a blanket. You can use 2 blankets, no problem. It's not clothing. Just don't cover the face, don't cover the head. You can make a tent. Yeah, you can make like a tent and go inside the tent, no problem. Like if there's bugs and all of those things like that. So you put like 2 pieces of sticks and you put a cloth and then you kind of go in there. You'll be sleeping in a tent the whole time, really. When you see them, so that's not a problem. Just when it touches the face or touches the head. So 2 last ones. What else is permissible? You can put scent-free oil. If you have some oil that doesn't have any scent, then you can use that oil. If you're like, what's that? Vaseline that doesn't have a scent. Specifically for men, make sure you have your Vaseline. You're going to do a lot of walking. And what happens is that when the thighs are rubbing against each other, it's going to start giving you a very tough time. So keep it lubricated with the Vaseline, but get the Vaseline that doesn't have any scent, because we're going to be walking a lot. Without scent, talcum powder, Vaseline, any of those things to stop that friction. Yeah, Amazon, any place else you'll find those things, inshallah. Just make sure they're scent free, that's all. Yeah, alhamdulillah. And the final thing that you can do, yes, it's okay to kill harmful animals. If a snake is after you, if there's like anything like scorpions or any of those things that's going to cause you harm, even though you're in ihram, the harmful animals are excluded from the rule. So just be careful. Don't sit there and take the sting. You can kill those things, no problem. So that finishes now, mashallah, the ihram part. That ihram, whatever we did, those rules, you can use it twice. The first time is for your Umrah. The second time is later on when Hajj days actually begin. So the same thing we did, you're going to do it twice. So now we're going to enter Makkah Mukarramah. So what's the plan? The flight leaves from here and goes where?
Istanbul, and then Istanbul to Jeddah.
Istanbul to Jeddah. So you're going to probably put your ihram on in Istanbul.
Istanbul.
Yes.
Istanbul, yeah.
So they do have showers in the airport, right?
It's a new airport now. Right? It's not the same one we went on. It's a newer airport. They actually have a separate ihram place,
Okay.
which I assume that they would have showers as well. It's a completely separate dedicated ihram place.
Right. So if they do have the showers, you can take your shower. There's a masjid, there's a musalla. You can do everything very calm and clean, no problem, and get into your ihram. From Istanbul, you're going to be in the state of ihram, so be careful.
Just to put it out there for our group to be ready, and inshallah, our Imam Yasir Osmani, he's going to be taking the lead on these things.
They can hear you on the mic?
Yeah,
good.
I'm just going to say it louder. So what it is that we have around 3.5 to 4.5 hours of layover, depending on where people are going from. So it's not a very much time, and there are going to be other folks from different parts of the world on the same airport. So not everybody might get a chance to take a shower or anything. So it might be that, okay, we have to stay clean, make wudu, and just go for it if we don't get a chance to take a quick rinse or something.
There you go. So just make sure you're there early, if you can. If you can't, bismillah.
Because I think some flights that are going, they only have 3.5.
Okay.
From Washington, D.C. here, it's going to be about 4-hour layover, and some places it's going to be 4.5-hour layover.
No problem, inshallah. That's when the wudu comes in handy. You can just make wudu, inshallah, and do that. So from Turkey now, this flight will land into Jeddah. Just be careful. Jeddah is a very tough airport. And the people that are working there, they do not care about you or your American passports. They're a little bit nicer, but just be very careful, because have mercy on them also. They have to deal with 3 million people. And these 3 million people, we know what we are like. We don't have the best akhlaq. Our Muslim ummah is from different countries, and every single one of us thinks that we need to be first, right? Coupled with that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set some people there just to test us. They're doing their job. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us through them. So when you see them, and they have absolutely nobody waiting in line, and they're still not calling you, it's not because they hate you. It's not because they think they're better than you. Maybe they're busy in their mind. There's something going on. So just try not to get into a fight or argument, because everybody has that temptation. You might sit 20 minutes, and the guy is on his cell phone, texting away to his friends over the soccer game, and you're trying to do your Hajj. It might happen, and most likely, more than not, it will happen. And he'll talk to another security guard, and he'll take his time, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting. So be ready for these things ahead of time. I'm telling you because it happens. And then when it happens to you, don't say I didn't warn you. Sabr, sabr, sabr. And they'll give you this look. They'll put their finger like this. Ya akhi, sabr, ya akhi, sabr. Half an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 4 hours, no problem. This is what we're here for, okay? So things will get lost. Things will be misplaced. People will take their sweet time. Other people will cut the line, right? A lot of these things will happen. But what do we have to do? La jidal, la rafatha, wa la fusuqa, wa la jidal. No obscenity, no fisq and fujur, no fighting, no arguing. Bas, khalas, just take your sweet time. Because where are we going? Now we're just about to enter Makkah Mukarramah. This is it. This is the invite. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has invited me, and I want to show my Allah that I'm ready for a change. And this is where the change kind of comes in, where we become a better version and a better form of us. So now entering Makkah Mukarramah, right? You have to get yourself in that spiritual state, right? As you're getting closer and closer, keep on labaik Allahumma labaik, right? What does this do when we recite the talbiyah? It puts us in that mindset, oh Allah, I'm getting closer. Oh Allah, I'm getting closer. Here I am. I'm at your service. I'm coming. I'm coming. So it creates that shauq and that enthusiasm that like it's as if I'm coming to meet my Allah, right? I'm coming to the house of Allah. So get yourself excited, even from now also, that Allahu Akbar, things are happening, things are moving, the tickets are booked, mashallah, I got my visa, alhamdulillah, I got my shots. So as the day gets closer and closer and closer, try to have this kind of a thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just waiting for me to come. So what do we do then? Upon entering Makkah Mukarramah, as soon as you leave the Jeddah airport, inshallah you get through there without any kind of problem and taklif. The bus will then leave now on the road journey. It's about a 45-minute drive to Makkah Mukarramah. On that bus ride, a person, I know you're going to be tired, exhausted, labaik, Allahumma labaik, talbiyah, dua, istighfar, get into your zone, right? As you get closer, every step getting closer to Makkah Mukarramah. Once we enter the boundaries of Makkah Mukarramah, right? Back in the olden days, what they would do is that just because they entered the city, the people would take a shower and a ghusl for entering the city. For us, it's very difficult. That doesn't, happen. For us, as soon as we get to our hotel room, right? For the honor and the azmat of the city of Makkah Mukarramah, then a person will take a shower. The niyyah is not really, let me get all this dirt off of my body, because you don't really have much dirt. Maybe earlier, a couple of hours earlier in the Istanbul airport, you took a shower. This shower is different, right? This shower is for the azmat of Makkah Mukarramah. So a person should take that shower. It's mustahab to do so. Next, we enter Makkah Mukarramah with humility and devotion, with talbiyah. That is going to continue going. This is now your choice. After you're in the hotel, you took your shower, you're going to assess your situation. You're going to see how tired you are, what time is it. So you do not have to immediately go to perform your Umrah. You don't have to. It's good, but if you're too tired, or if it's too hot outside, or if it's too crowded, you're like, I'm going to wait, right? So you're going to see what you're going to do, assess the situation. If you get there at 2 p.m., it's super crowded, it's super hot, and you're still tired, I wouldn't really advise doing it at that time, because your Umrah is like your Umrah. This is it, right? Nafil tawaf you can do later on, but this is your Umrah. So you want to make your Umrah when the state and the condition when you really got that jazba and that shauq and that enthusiasm, focus, concentration. You don't want to do it like half-heartedly. So maybe after Maghrib might be better. Maybe after Isha might be better. When it cools down, you've had a lunch, you've had a meal, you got energy. So you have to assess your own situation. Inshallah, you'll have group leaders with you. You guys can make mashwara then and there. But let's assume you're ready now. So we're going to go enter the masjid. We'll enter Masjid al-Haram. So how do we do that? Same way you enter any masjid. There are etiquettes, there are sunnats to follow when you enter the masjid. For example, we enter with the right foot, right? As soon as you walk over the threshold and the wall barrier into the masjid, step in with your right foot. Recite these du'as that we normally recite. Number one, Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. And then the dua, Allahumma aftah li abwaaba rahmatik. These du'as you can get from any book. These are amongst the adab and etiquettes. If a person forgets, okay, you forgot, no problem, but this will give you much more ajr and reward because you're following this. Khair. Once we enter the masjid, now, two options again. If you're going to start with your Umrah, if a person is going to start straight. He has the energy, he has a shawq, he's like, I've waited my whole time, I'm well rested, I'm well fed, I'm going to start. Then there's no Tahiyyatul Masjid. In the Haram Makki, there's no Tahiyyatul Masjid. If you're going to go for your Umrah, person, your Tahiyyatul Masjid is going to be your tawaf. So that's why the note is there, better to start straight with the tawaf of Umrah, as long as you have all the time and everything is in its place. If for some reason you're going to decide to delay your tawaf, you're going to delay the Umrah, you maybe want to pray your Zuhr and Asr and then do it. If you're going to delay it anyway, then you do Tahiyyat al-Masjid. You do your Tahiyyah, 2 rakat nafil, as a greeting for the masjid, like we do in any masjid before we sit down and so forth. So then go ahead and perform your Tahiyyat al-Masjid. If you're not, and you want to go straight for tawaf, then don't do your Tahiyyat al-Masjid. The better thing is to go straight for the tawaf. This is like an ashiq, a person who's in love. He just can't wait. Like, Ya Allah, labbaik, I am here. So he wants to show that devotion. Some people get into that josh. By all means, bismillah. But one thing don't miss out on. Either one of these that you choose, whether to do Tahiyyat al-Masjid and delay your tawaf, or if you don't want to delay your tawaf and you want to go straight for tawaf, but still too, before you do any of these things, there's a riwayah in the hadith that mentions that one of the times where du'as are readily accepted is the very first time you look and you lay your glance on the Kaaba. So at that particular time, make sure you take some due time over there. This is the time of Hajj. This is the time of the acceptance of du'as, and we're going there because we have a list of sins we want to make tawbah from. We have a list of sick people that we need to make du'as for. We have a list of hawa'ij and necessities that we're asking from Allah. So the time when the du'as are readily going to be accepted is the very first time you see the Kaaba. So find a nice little place onto the side so that you don't bother anybody, nobody bothers you. And then with your hands raised, looking at the Kaaba, make your dua and take a good time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, however you want to make, and just look at the Kaaba and make dua. Inshallah, your duas will be readily accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Stop there, inshallah? Yep, we'll continue from that slide. Okay, for the online guests, inshallah, we're going to stop and pause here for Maghrib Salah. We'll commence after the namaz, inshallah. With the dua. Okay, bismillah. We'll give one more minute just for the sake of giving 9 o'clock, yeah. We're good? We're going to start?
Yeah, bismillah.
Okay, so bismillah. Now, since we've entered Makkah Mukarramah, we've made the decision whenever we're going to start our tawaf, whether it's going to be after break or it's going to be immediately. So the tawaf is going to start. So number one, the whole journey of the Umrah part, we started our talbiyah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik. We started that from the time we got into the state of ihram. The one that's going to have the most rewarding Umrah or the most rewarding Hajj is the one who's going to recite the talbiyah the most. And he's going to be into that josh of I'm here, oh Allah. But obviously you don't want to tire yourself out too much, but as much as is possibly can be done without harming your health, do the talbiyah a lot. The talbiyah will stop. The talbiyah will come to an end when the tawaf starts. Do not do talbiyah while making tawaf, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, because that's going to be khilaf as-sunnah. That's going to be actually something that you're not going to get reward for, right? This is something new. It's going to be like an innovation. So the talbiyah, the sunnah, what we were taught by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that now you are here, now you do your tawaf. But you don't say that, okay, now I'm here, I'm here. The talbiyah comes to an end for Umrah during the tawaf, right? Right before starting tawaf, no more talbiyah. That's point number one. Point number two, for men, since we're going to be in the state of our ihram, we're going to be having our 2 sheets. For the Umrah, for this particular tawaf, we have to make iztiba. So iztiba is basically like the picture shows, you're going to expose your right shoulder, right? That shoulder is going to be exposed. So all it really is that if your shawl is hanging on both shoulders, you just take it under your right armpit. Normally you hang it on like a normal shawl that you would wear. This time what you're going to do is the right one, take it off of the shoulder and put it around under the right armpit and hang it on top of the left shoulder like this brother has done over here. It's normally covering the shoulder. This piece will cover that shoulder. You take that off, put it under the armpit and around that way. Doing this, exposing the right shoulder is called iztiba. So coupled with this, you have another thing called ramal. And ramal is when a person walks like a soldier. You're walking fast, you're walking stout, like a tough guy. So these are for men. These are the two sunnah of tawaf, right? The question is, why do we do this? Where did this come from? The history behind this is that when the Muslims left Makkah Mukarramah, they made hijrah to Medina Munawwara. Medina Munawwara was called the city of Yathrib. So Yathrib means like a place that causes corruption. It's a place that used to make people sick. The water of Yathrib was very brackish, was very salty. You couldn't find good sweet water in Yathrib. The air quality and the whole area of Yathrib used to make people sick. You would get a flu, you would get a fever, people would pass away. The father of Rasulullah, he passed away there on his journey towards Sham. So when the Muslims went to Yathrib, then the mushrikeen and the kuffar said, when they came back to do their Umrah, they said, let's see what the air of Yathrib has done to the Muslims. Yani, I think they've gotten weak. They've become kamzor. So now maybe we can launch an attack. So when Rasulullah and the Muslims were performing their tawaf, so Rasulullah ordered them to make iztiba, and Rasulullah ordered them to do ramal, to show the strength, to show the shuja'at, the bravery, the courage of the Muslim men, that you don't think you're going to attack us, we still have our strength. So now this, you cannot keep up. That ramal, that brisk walk, and that soldier-like march, you can't do it for all 7 rounds. So the sunnah is we only do it for the first 3 rounds. But the iztiba, exposing the bicep, that's going to remain for all 7 rounds. But when do you do this iztiba? This is going to be for every tawaf afterward where you're going to do sa'i. So that's just a general rule. A person will do this iztiba and will make ramal for those tawafs which there's going to be sa'i with it also, right? So Umrah, you're going to have it, and in your Hajj, you're going to have it. And later on, I'm going to make some reference to some other options that you do have to make your Hajj easier for you. I'll come back to that point later, inshallah. So when our tawaf comes, we stop the talbiyah, we get ready. We put ourselves in the iztiba of the ihram. We make sure we have our wudu, because for tawaf, a person must have wudu. It's necessary to have wudu for tawaf. Question then comes, well, what happens because tawaf is 7 rounds, it gets very crowded, there's a lot of walking, and a lot of us, we might have stomach problems, gas problems, urine problems. So what happens if in the middle of your tawaf your wudu breaks? It's very easy. They've made it very easy for us. And the bottom level of the mataf, the level 1 of mataf, because there are different levels. If you go to the normal ground level of the place where everybody's making tawaf, they have wudu khana. There's no bathrooms because it's inside the masjid. You cannot use the bathroom inside the masjid, right? But there is a place just for wudu only. So if you look at, later on, I'm going to show you Rukn-i-Yamani. Rukn-i-Yamani is the corner of the Kaaba, which is right before Hajr-i-Aswad. If this happens to you, you ask anybody, where's Rukn-i-Yamani? Where's Rukn-i-Yamani? And they'll say, this is Rukn-i-Yamani. When you go to the Rukn-i-Yamani, immediately opposite, if you look away from the Kaaba, if you make a straight line walking away from Rukn-i-Yamani, away from the Kaaba, you're going to go and you're going to see a place where this guy is pointing his finger, right? Because he is standing and he walked from Rukn-i-Yamani and he's showing you, there's a video on YouTube, but it's in Arabic for whoever knows how to speak Arabic, and he's showing you that the wudu khana is directly in line with the Rukn Yamani. This picture over here will show you what it looks like. It's these blue things for men, and it's red for women, like a burgundy red for women. And there's a picture of a woman in hijab, and it says over there, ablution men, or it says in Arabic, I can't even read what it says there, it's too small, but there's some signs. I think even in Urdu they have it, a place for wudu. So if you do break your wudu in the middle of your tawaf, you just take a break from your tawaf, go to this place, make your wudu, come back, and if you had finished 2, then you start your number 3, right? So if it's somewhere in the middle of 3, your wudu broke, so that means you have to do 3 again. So 1 and 2 are done, so you do 3 again, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. So you pick off the last completion.
Do you pick up where you left, or do you restart that one?
Restart that one and complete that one. Right? Make a fresh wudu and pick up where you left off, like simple as that. Okay, where's my next slide? How do I move to the next slide? Why is my arrow key not working? Ah, there. Now I think we're back. There we go. So for the tawaf now, how we're gonna do this. So you made your istiba, you have your wudu. Next thing that's gonna happen is the person will then make the niyyah that, oh Allah, I intend to perform tawaf. Right? You can say it in English, Urdu, Arabic, Allahumma inni uridu tawafan bi baytik, oh Allah, I intend to do tawaf around your house. فَيَسِّرْهَا لِي وَتَقَبَّلْهَا مِنِّي, so accept it from me and make it easy for me. You can say it in English, Urdu, whatever. It's just something you do in your heart. This niyyah, you'll try to do it very close to the Hajar Aswad. Right? You can't get too close because it's very crowded. Hajar Aswad is this one right here. There's a silver ring around it, and then the black stone is inside. So somewhere, then there used to be a line on the floor in the marble tiles before. Nowadays there's a light, so you will not exactly find this, but you try to get there right before here with your ittiba, then you'll make your niyyah. Oh Allah, I intend to perform tawaf. Then what happens? The next point, just like how we raise our hands and we make our takbir for namaz, our takbir al-tahrima, and the same way we'll make our takbir for tawaf. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. It's like same as like how we do in the namaz. It's just Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. So that's the minimum. Some people recite even more, but the bare minimum we're going to stick with. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Once that happens, the next step to do after that, if we were in a time where it's not crowded, there's a lot of space that's open, ideally what you'd want to do is after making your niyyah and your takbir, you would go straight to the Hajar Aswad and you would put your hands on it and you would kiss the Hajar Aswad, if that's possible, but I don't think it's possible nowadays. Maybe if you go do Umrah when nobody's there, like after the days of Hajj, then maybe. So nowadays, I don't think you're going to get the chance to do that. And don't fight people to try to touch or kiss the Hajar Aswad. This is not going to be a good thing. Like I said, in the haram, in the state of ihram, the sin and the guna of harming people is greater than a little bit of reward you're going to get for the Hajar Aswad, right? So this way, the sin is going to outweigh whatever little reward you would have gotten anyway. So then what's the next option? The next option is a person makes istilam. Istilam is like you make ishara. By your hand, it's like, Ya Allah, I want to touch the Hajar Aswad, I want to kiss the Hajar Aswad, but I can't because I don't want to harm anybody, it's too crowded. So from where you are, you just kind of like almost make ishara towards the Hajar Aswad as if you're touching it, right? And then from that particular moment there, like because you can't touch or kiss the Hajar Aswad, you can just maybe kiss your fingers over there. So this is like istilam of the Hajar Aswad. So you just make ishara and you indicate towards this. Rasulullah had done something similar when he was making tawaf on a camel. He had a stick, and with a stick you would touch Aswad and then kiss the end of the stick. So it's kind of something very similar. That's the closest that we can do nowadays. So that's istilam. So refreshing, you make your ittiba, you get in line with the Hajar Aswad, but don't pass the Hajar Aswad. Make the niyyah, and then Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, the takbir for starting the tawaf, Then after that, make the ishara or your istilam of Hajj Aswad, kiss your fingers, and then the person is going to start moving in the tawaf. But this is going to take place very fast because there's people are not going to give you any time. As soon as you get there, you'll have maybe 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds to do all of this because there's like a wave of people coming. You might get lucky, it's not that crowded, depends on the time. If it's all that thing, you have to make your niyyat, make your takbir, make your istilam, and move. Otherwise, you're going to get run over by a whole wave of people. So just keep that in your mind. So just be ready for that. When you make tawaf, you're going to go this way. So just follow the crowd of people. Make your tawaf. Go to your right side. And then in the first 3 rounds for the men, as soon as you started it off, now you have to make sure that you're going to do your ramal. You're going to do your soldier walk. Right? So you're going to walk like a soldier. You're going to go a little bit more fast. Make that ramal motion for the first 3 rounds. Yahamakallah. What happens if it gets too crowded? Right? Because this is only going to be in the first 3 rounds. What happens if it gets too crowded for ramal, or if you're too old, or if you have some injury like a cast, then you don't do the ramal. You don't do it. If it's too crowded, there's a whole wall of people in front of you. Where are you going to go? You can't really do anything. So normally what you do is like you pretend as if you're going to be doing it, but you just don't do the ramal. Whenever then you find an open gap, then you continue on doing it. Now the question comes in, what happens if you forgot to do it on the first round? Or you forgot to do it on the first and the second round because you're thinking of 1,001 things, you forgot. So should you then make qada of it? Should you then do it in rounds 3, 4, and 5? No, right? The place for it is in the rounds 1, 2, and 3. So if you forgot in round 1 and round 2, then you only do it in round 3. If you forgot in round 1, but you remembered in rounds 2 and 3, then you only do it in 2 and 3. If you forgot the whole entire thing, and then you're like, La hawla wa la quwwata, but I didn't do my ramal, still it's not a problem. Don't worry about this thing. There's no dam and there's no penalty if you forget. Right? So that's for the first 3 rounds for the men, not for the sisters. One other point, since I have the picture here, this little part over here is called the hatim. It's also called al-hijr. So it's like a 3-foot wall that is in the shape of a C. It looks like C, the letter C. Before, this used to be part of the Kaaba. The wall of the Kaaba used to go that far and around this way. But in the time, that particular time when the Kaaba was being rebuilt, there wasn't enough halal money to finish off the building of the Kaaba. So they built this much of it and they made a small hatim to signify that this part right here is also part of the Kaaba. So when you're making your tawaf, don't do the shortcut inside. If a person takes a shortcut inside, your tawaf will not be complete because you're not making tawaf around the entire house. The entire house goes all the way around that thing, right? So if you, for 1 round or something, you get inside there and then you come out, that 1 round of yours will not count as be completed. It's going to be half complete. But since we're on this topic, it has nothing to do with tawaf, just by the way. To pray namaz inside here, it's as if you're praying inside the Kaaba. And in this place here, you see this thing right here, this is called the mizab al-rahma. It's the rain gutter. When the rain comes down on the roof of the Kaaba, there's one particular hole here where the rainwater comes and descends. So this is a sunnah place to pray your namaz. Anytime when you're free later on, inshallah, if Allah gives you the tawfiq, try to go inside there, pray some nafal right under the mizab and make dua over there, right? It's a very, very good place for nafal namaz, a very good place for your duas to be accepted. Not very many people know about it. So we should try to.
Way too crowded.
It depends if you get the time. If it's the Hajj time, nobody knows there, you get a moment, something happens, it's just something good to know and try to do. That we'll discuss even more later, inshallah. So during the tawaf, what are you supposed to do, right? Whether it's the first 3 rounds or the last 4 rounds, what do I do during tawaf? Make a lot of dua, Make a lot of zikr, a lot of durood sharif, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Any of these things that are like the verbal worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, different types of du'as. There's nothing that specific. There's only one single particular specific dua that has been mentioned in the hadith, where a person on the last end of the first round, you start from here at the Hajj Aswad, you're going to go around. This little thing is called Maqam Ibrahim. So you pass that one, you go around the Hatim, all the way around that side of the Kaaba. When you get here, this is Rukn Yamani. This is what I was talking about. Hajj Aswad, right before that is Rukn Yamani, Rukn al-Yamani. Just by the way, opposite this one is where the wuzu khana is. But the point we're trying to make here is that when you get to this part, from here on the last stretch of your tawaf, the hadith states a person should make this dua, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. So use that leg or stretch of the tawaf to make that particular dua from here.
Every round?
Every round. When you get back to Hajj Aswad, one round is done. Now, this is a thing that might seem so easy, but you might get confused. Even from now, make a decision. How are you going to count? How are you going to count? What do you mean, how am I going to count? There's two different ways you can do this, right? If you're going to use your fingers, how are you going to use your finger? Are you going to hold finger number one when you start your first tawaf, or when you end your first round, right? Because you might confuse yourself. After 3 rounds, you're holding up 3 fingers, and you're like, wait, does this mean I finished 3 rounds, or did I start my 3rd round? You'll get confused. So pick one and stick with that the entire journey, right? So what I normally do is that I don't want to hold my finger number 1 when I start, because that's when I finish 1 round, then I hold my 1 finger that 1 is done. 1 is done. And then for the remaining of my tawaf, I'm holding that finger. Some people have that tasbih that counts or whatever.
Yeah.
If you just put your finger for a couple of seconds and then let go when you're in your du'as, you will forget sometimes. You will forget. So have some sort of a way or method of counting how many tawafs, how many rounds you have done. And the system that you use when you end or when you begin. Very important. Now, since you finished 1 round, when you come back to Hajj Aswad and you're about to start your next one, we have to do the istilam thing again. You know, same thing like we did before, like, you know, raising your hand, making the ishara towards the Hajj Aswad and kissing the hands and so forth. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, go on for your 2nd round. Do the same exact thing, then the 3rd round, 4th round. Like this, the full 7 rounds, we're going to do the same way. So by the end of it, you're going to see that there's 8 times that we did istilam. The first one was when we started our tawaf. Then after the first one ended, after the 2nd one is ending, after the 3rd one is ending, and even after the 7th one is ended, in total you're going to find 8 istilam just in the tawaf. This is the most of these actions they're going to see is done that this is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had shown the Anbiya from before. You know, and then we just kind of continue the same way. Maybe Allah has a reason why He chose the number 7, but Allah chose the number 7. I want you to do it 7 times around, and then that's became just a sunnah. There's going to be some hikmah, some wisdom, but you know, that's going to be our conjecture and our guess why the 7. That hasn't been really told to us. So we'll do this for the full 7 rounds and end tawaf with the 8th istilam of Hajj Aswad. Now some other notes, by the way. Where can you do tawaf? So you'll see that the ground floor is the main area where they call the mataf. That's the main normal ground floor, floor number 1. If that gets very busy, you have the 2nd floor. There's a 3rd floor. There's 4th floor. So there's different floors that they have that you can make the tawaf. You can do tawaf in any one of those places. It'll just take a longer time. It'll take a longer time because it's more spread out. Although it's less crowded, it's a longer walk. You can do it on the roof. That will take you a very long time because it's so spread out. Normally, if you do it in the mataf area, One round should take you, if it's not too crowded, maybe about 10 minutes, 8 minutes, depending on different speed. If it's very, very empty and you're doing a ramal, you can probably finish one round in about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, no problem. Hajj time, it just depends. It's your luck. It just depends how busy it is when you're doing it. Yeah, it's just whatever happens, you're going to see. But just as a rough time estimate for you. The only thing is that the tawaf has to be inside of the masjid. If you go outside of the doors of the masjid, people pray there, but you cannot do tawaf there. That's outside of the masjid. You'll pause your tawaf. You like, let's say for example, Zuhr namaz comes in the middle, so you just put your tawaf on pause. You go get into the saf, pray your namaz, and then as soon as the namaz is over, you continue on with your tawaf.
There's the so I'm starting again in the second one, whole again, or just the half of the real stuff.
A lot of things depends if you moved around from place to position. Sometimes the shurtis will make you move. If you're in the exact same place, then you can continue where you left off. If something happens, and 99.9% of the time it's going to happen, just redo that last round that was left incomplete. Yeah.
Usually, also like when you're doing tawaf, right? I mean, and like the before salah, they start making safs, you know.
Yep.
So if you find one of the spots and you stand there, then technically you didn't move.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't know what the shurtis will do to you, so just be careful. Like I've seen different things happen over there. They'll make you move. They'll make you do these kind of things like that. So you're not doing your tawaf. The imam will come and they're gonna have his podium set up over there, or bring the jai namaz, or do all those things, and people get moved around. Our Maulana Huzaifa here, he was sitting there in the first saf, and another guy came set on top of him. Then the shurti, the security guard, kicked him out and let the other guy who sat on top of him sit there. So he kicked him out and he had to leave and go back. So anything can happen. So you just have to be careful about that. So in the next point, it is wajib to perform 2 rakats after every tawaf. So when we finish our 7 rounds, the last thing that we're going to do when we finish the 7 round is to make the istilam again of Hajj Aswad for the 8th time. Then we go to do our namaz of tawaf. It's wajib. 2 rakats wajib tawaf namaz. Salah of tawaf. Preferable to go to Maqam Ibrahim. Yep. So as soon as you finish your tawaf, you're going to look right here is Maqam Ibrahim. But it gets very crowded and you can't pray. So if it's too crowded, most likely it will be, find Maqam Ibrahim and go back behind it 10 safs, 20 safs. You'll see that they'll put out like a rope. It's a roped off, cordoned off area, and people do their namaz in there. So get inside under that roped area, and then you can do your namaz over there. If that's crowded also, then anywhere you can do is 2 rakats namaz. Right? Anywhere, no problem. Doesn't have to be by Maqam Ibrahim. Yeah. What happens if you forget to do it? Do it sometime in your life. Even if you come back to America, oh, astaghfirullah, I didn't do my 2 rakats of my tawaf, the wajib.
For any tawaf, not just for Umrah.
Any tawaf, any tawaf, any tawaf. Yeah, after every 7 rounds, you have to make sure to do 2 rakats. And
if it's makruh time or something like
that. Yeah, if it's makruh time, you cannot pray nafil namaz, or you cannot pray namaz at that particular time, then you just delay it a little bit. If it's after Asr, wait until after Maghrib, you pray your fard namaz, then you can pray your tawaf namaz afterward. Sometimes it might happen that you performed 2 tawafs, 3 tawafs, but you forgot to do the namaz. So you can do that afterward. Don't make a habit of it, but you can perform all 3 after.
Yes, the tawaf means like
full 7 rounds. When the full 7 rounds, 1 tawaf. No. Yeah, the full 7 is going to be 1 tawaf. Yeah. Another point, since we're going to do that namaz, in that namaz, for the men, since your right shoulder was exposed, it's not good to pray namaz like that. with your shoulder exposed. So now namaz time, you cover both shoulders, not your head, no topi, no covering of the head like a shawl, but cover that shoulder. So you take your ihram and put it back like a normal ihram, cover shoulders, and then perform your namaz with the shoulders covered. The surahs of Surah Kafirun and Surah Ikhlas. So those are the ones that are preferable. If for some reason you forget any surah, it's fine, but these ones are mustahab, it's preferable. And then at the end of this, you make your dua. Because mashallah, your tawaf is done. You know, it's a good time for the acceptance of dua. So take a good time over there and make dua. This picture down here is showing you the green lights. Before, there used to be a line on the floor, but this green light shows you on the wall where's in line with Hajj Aswad, so keep an eye out for that if you're not too close. My arrow button is not working. Khair. So when tawaf is finished, now what's the next step? The sunnah is that a person goes and drinks Zamzam. You just made 7 rounds around the Kaaba. It's very hot. Rasulullah had done this. You go to drink Zamzam water. Not just drink Zamzam water, but also use it to kind of like for tabarruk, barakah, put it on your face, put it on your hands, rub around your body and so forth. Before, the well of Zamzam used to be open. So this is the picture of what it used to look like before. Like even up in the early 90s, Zamzam was still open. So when you would finish your tawaf here, you finish making your namaz behind Maqam Ibrahim over here, then you would come to Zamzam right down here. There's like little stairs, you go down the stairs, and the well of Zamzam is over there. And they would have like a water fountain filled with Zamzam, but they closed this off. This whole area is now closed off. You don't have access to the well of Zamzam anymore. So what can you do? If you want, there's those, what do you call those big coolers that have Zamzam inside of there? So go to one of those coolers and drink a lot of Zamzam over there. You can use some also for tabarruk on your body. Both are there, yeah. So it's good. This is the time for you to do that, especially if you make the niyyah that I want to follow the sunnah after my tawaf, I want to drink Zamzam. Go ahead and do that. This is before going for Safa and Marwa. Right? Drink Zamzam before going for Safa and Marwa.
The 9th Istilam, do you do that before Zamzam or after?
After Zamzam. Right? So after you drink your Zamzam, you got a little bit of rest. Now it's like, okay, let's then go for the Safa and Marwa. So that we're going to discuss. But like these points I've mentioned, if you can't, you obviously won't be able to, you'll find those little coolers that are there. Also between Safa and Marwa, there's the Zamzam stations there. It's all over the place. To drink Zamzam water, you stand up, preferably. You don't have to, but it's better to stand up. Face the Qibla and drink with the right hand with Bismillah. And also there's a specific dua. There's a hadith that mentions that drinking Zamzam, lima shuriba lahu. Whatever niyyah you make for drinking Zamzam, that is going to take effect. To give you an idea, Hazrat Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu, he made this niyyah. When he heard that hadith, he's like, oh Allah, I'm drinking the Zamzam now so I can quench my thirst on the day of Qiyamah. When it's going to be so hot on the day of Qiyamah and the sun is going to be so close, Ya Allah, I'm drinking the Zamzam now to quench my thirst on the day of Qiyamah. So whatever niyyah you drink Zamzam for, that will take place for that niyyah. Some people are sick.
Every time?
Every time. One of the common du'as a lot of the scholars mention is Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafiya wa rizqan wasi'a wa shifa min kulli da. So when drinking Zamzam, you can make that dua. And then you can rub Zamzam over the face, head, body, for barakah, for shifa. Some people have eye problems. You can kind of rub it into your eyes, whatever the case might be, and so forth. So this is also very good, all before going for Safa and Marwa. So now it's going to be after Zamzam, yani the end basically. Right before the end of your Umrah, we're going to go for Sa'i. Sa'i basically means running between the mountains of Safa and the mountain of Marwa. The two look exactly alike, almost exactly alike. So sometimes people can get lost, but they have these signs right here. Ila Safa, or to Safa, you know, and then they have all of these signs that the Safa mountain is this way. Same sign they'll have on Mount Marwa. They're going to have signs so you can see it. So make sure we start on Mount Safa. And then they have these little signs over here that beyond this point is where Mount Safa starts. So when we do all of these things and we start off, we should make sure we're in the right area to start off, right? Not too early. So they've got the signboards and everything for us, and you'll see other people doing it. So sa'i should be done right after tawaf. When tawaf is done, there's no like lunch break, let's go back to the hotel. Although you can do it if you want to. If a person is old or has some problems or something like this, preferably it should be done right after. You finish your tawaf, drink some zamzam, that's break enough, then go for your sa'i. Before starting your sa'i, again, you're going to go back to the Hajj Aswad before doing this thing and make your istilam. So like on your way now, when you know I'm going to go for my sa'i, make istilam, again, make ishara towards the Hajj Aswad and kiss your fingers. That's now I'm going to go start my sa'i. You go there to the bab or the door of Safa, and then as you see here, there's like a round circular area over here. And once you get up, there's going to be like an uphill area going up towards Mount Safa. Once you get to a good area on the, you don't have to go too high up, but climb up Mount Safa a little bit on the incline platform, enough to where you have a direct sight of vision to the Kaaba. It won't be the entire Kaaba, but some portion of the Kaaba. That's where it's going to start. And over there, a person starts making his niyyah, and a person makes dua over there at the start of your sa'i. So one should climb a bit on Mount Safa, not too high, but just enough to see the Kaaba. Once you're up there, it's mustahab you make your intention. Oh Allah, I intend to perform sa'i. So this one is mustahab. It's not wajib, not fard. For sa'i, it's mustahab. Oh Allah, I intend to perform sa'i, accept it from me. Again, it's wajib to start at Safa, not Marwa. But what happens if somebody starts at Marwa by accident? That one will not count. So if he starts at Marwa and then goes to Safa, and then from Safa back to Marwa, that's only one, because the first one didn't count, right? So that one will be like as if he was just walking to Safa. So that one doesn't count. The one that he starts from Safa will be his first one. Yeah, and Safa first. So you'll see, if you're confused, you can ask somebody where's Safa, and you'll see the signs. So climb up the mountain a little bit. It's like a little bit of an incline, and get to an area to where you can see the Kaaba. Once you're there, make the niyyah. After the niyyah is done, a person will raise the hands then, and a person will start making dua, praise Allah, make takbir, tasbih, tahleel, la ilaha illallah, salawat upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and dua. You want to spend as much time here to approximately like 20 verses of Quran. How long it would take you to recite 20 verses of Quran, you want to spend approximately that amount of time on the mountain of Safa before you go down to make your sa'i. And there's one longer dua that Rasulullah had made. If you can remember it, it's very good. If you can't remember it, it's too long, no problem, make whatever dua that you like. So that dua is right here, I have it in Arabic. It's probably going to be in your Hajj books. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah wahdah, la sharika lah, lahul mulku wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdah, anjaza wa'dah, wa nasara 'abdah, wa hazama al-ahzaba wahdah. So Rasulullah had made that dua. There's a specific purpose at that particular time. There's a way of praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for helping Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in defeating the different armies that had come to attack. But since it's sunnah, it's good for us to do it. But it's a bit long, I understand. If you can memorize it, it's good. Yes, if you have a book in your hand, just read from it too. There's no problem. No problem, inshallah. So after you do this on the top of Mount Safa, you spent about 20 verses of time making dua and all those things. Then a person will come down and make sa'i and start journey towards Mount Marwa. And this whole Safa and Marwa is basically reliving what our mother Bibi Hajra alayhi had to go through when Allah ordered Ibrahim alayhi that I want you to go leave your wife and child in this valley. And there's nobody there. There's no families, there's no people, there's no animals, nothing was there. So in the obedience of Allah, Ibrahim ﷺ went, left the wife and the child there and didn't even speak, wasn't even allowed to say anything. So Hajar ﷺ said, did Allah order you to leave us here? So he made ishara that yes, this is the hukam of Allah. She said, then Allah will not destroy us. So she had yaqeen. But then after Ibrahim ﷺ left, now what is she supposed to do? She has a little baby, Yani Ismail ﷺ, still like an infant. So she goes from one mountain to see if she can see anybody on the side, to get water, to get food. The baby is crying, she doesn't see anybody. She comes down the mountain, goes on another mountain, looks on that side, can I see any travelers, any Bedouins? So back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. When all of this comes to a stop, and she was still content and happy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jibreel comes down and then hits the wing right where baby Ismail had put his heel, and the well of Zamzam came from there. So all of this has a long history you can read about inshallah in the books. But we go with the same jazbah, that we're fulfilling the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're running and we're looking for the maghfirat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the thing is, when you're making your descent from Safa, it's going to then become like a flat ground. You're going to walk a little bit, walk a little bit, walk a little bit, but in the middle, you're going to see that they have these lights on top. It's green lights. So between the green lights on both sides, as soon as you start the green light, you start running. It's like a light run or a light jog. This is for men only, not women. Then you start your jog or your light run until the green lights come to an end, and then you can go back to a normal walk. But the whole entire time, a person will make, and even doing this sa'i, make du'as, make takbir, make tasbih, zikr, and all these things like that. There's nothing specific. It's up to you. If a person is sick the whole time, like Bibi Hajar alayhi salatu, she's making dua that, oh Allah, grant us water, grant us life, grant us food, and all of these things. We might be sick. Oh Allah, cure me of this cancer. Oh Allah, cure me of this disease. Oh Allah, my son needs to get married. Oh Allah, help my business. All of those things like that, whatever hajats that we have, this is the time you do all those things. So anyway, when you come to the end of this journey, then comes the Mount Marwa. And you're going to go up Mount Marwa a little bit, and you're going to see over there, they're going to sign over here. Marwa starts from here. So you go up the mountain a little bit over there. And the same thing that we did in Mount Safa over there, we do the same thing over here. You won't be able to see the Kaaba because it's too far and it's blocked off. But you try to face the Qibla, raise your hands for about 20 verses or so. You recite the different du'as and so forth. And that other long dua, if you can remember it, you make dua over there. Spend some time in Mount Marwa. And then one round is complete. So Safa to Marwa is one. Then Marwa back to Safa is two, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You start on Safa, on 7 you'll end on Marwa, right? So that's some way to kind of keep count for yourself. So like you mentioned over here, one direction is one round, and 7 rounds will be completed in the same way that we mentioned before. And that's pretty much sa'i. Not so difficult at all. Some notes, by the way, wudu is not a shart. You don't need to have wudu. If your wudu breaks, no problem. It's not a problem, right? If one breaks the wudu, or if you're a woman and it just so happened that your menses start right now, your haid starts right now, you finish your tawaf and like, oh, it's still not a problem. Even a woman in haze can do her sa'i. There's no penalty on them. Anyway, so some other points, you start at Safa, you end at Marwa. And when you end at Marwa, after that, there's nothing really left but to go and get your head shaved. So you can step outside the gates, keep some money with you. There's going to be many barbers over there, and they can shave your head for you, for the men. For the sisters, you can go back to the hotel. You get another sister, she can clip your hair and so forth. Or let the husband, and let him finish off. She can go into the hotel, rest a little bit, and then you can come and clip her hair, something like that. And both of you will then come out of the state of ihram, finished.
And Safa
in Marwa, the people thinking that if you start from Safa, you keep going. If you tie, you not gonna sit. Yeah, if you
No, you can sit. You can sit. Especially for the elderly people or people who have some problems. If the foot starts paining too much, you can take a quick break. There's also like Zamzam bottle, the big water fountains of Zamzam in the middle. So you can kind of pause a little bit to catch your breath and so forth, because nobody wants to faint. So no problem like that. Now with this, the Umrah has come to a completion. The Umrah is finished. This is pretty much it. It's very simple. The same similar things that we just discussed here, we're going to do it later for Hajj. The Tawaf we're going to do, Sa'i we're going to do, and so forth. But there I'm going to go brief. Here a bit in detail, but over there I'm just going to pass by. Yeah, for the men you have both options. You can shave the head, and the one that shaves the head, the Rasul had made dua 3 times to them. That Allahumma ghfir lil muhalliqeen, oh Allah, forgive the people who shave the head. Oh Allah, forgive the people who shave the head. Oh Allah, forgive the people who shave the head. Somebody was asking, Ya Rasulullah, what about the people who cut their hair? So each 3 times or something again, oh Allah, forgive the people who shave the head. Ya Rasulullah, what about the people who cut their hair? Oh Allah, forgive the people who shave their head. Ya Rasulullah, what about the people who just cut their hair? So for 3 times, Rasulullah said, oh Allah, forgive the people who shave the head. And the 4th time, it said, oh Allah, forgive the people who cut their hair. And so that shows that there's like much more fazilat, much more virtue if you shave the entire head. For some reason, if a person just gets the trim the hair, it'll suffice to come out of ihram, but it's like less reward and less ajr.
If you're going there like for Hajj and stuff, you should definitely.
Yeah, if it's a Hajj trip, you want to make the most out of it.
Some people
yeah, that's it. So both are jayz, and then the barbers will do each one, no problem. You have.
So quick question.
Yep.
Earlier, Mufti talked about when putting on the ihram, right? For sisters, if they're in the state of menses,
yeah,
they can make the niyyah.
Yes.
But when they reach the city of Makkah, I mean, they cannot enter the masjid, obviously.
Yeah, that's coming a little bit later. Sisters can come into the state of ihram, but they have to see what their situation is. And the sisters know best their own condition. So some sisters, they bleed for 5 days out of the month. Some sisters bleed 9 days out of the month. So each sister knows her condition, and she knows which day she's in right now. So one sister, she knows that I only have 2 days left. I bled 7 days ago. I normally bleed for 9 days. I only have 2 days left. So she'll get into her ihram. There's no namaz for her, obviously, because she doesn't pray namaz like that anyway. And another thing she's not allowed to do, not in the haram or not any other masjid, a woman in her haid and her menses cannot enter any masjid, right? As long as it's a masjid. A lot of places like this is a musalla, it's not a masjid. They can come to a musalla, they can come to prayer areas, but if it's a proper masjid, it's a waqf, it's the house of Allah, a woman in haid and a man in janabat, or a woman in janabat, you cannot enter the masjid, right? So for her, if she's in her haid, she's in her menses, she can go into the state of ihram, she'll stay into the hotel, she'll go do the shopping, she'll do all of those things, she'll make her dua, she'll make tasbih, she'll do those things until she becomes pak, right? So she doesn't have to wait to go into ihram. To enter Makkah Mukarramah, you have to be into the ihram. So she'll be in her ihram, and then once she becomes pak, then she can do her tawaf and she can do her sa'i and those things and come out of ihram afterward. So once the umrah is done, what's the last thing you do? After umrah, now you're going to go back to your normal clothes, right? So which day do you guys land? Like 4th of Zul Hijjah?
No, Zul Hijjah is going to be, say maybe like the 1st or 2nd. 1st or 2nd of Zul Hijjah, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you'll finish your umrah on the 2nd of Zul Hijjah. Now Hajj is going to start on the 8th of Zul Hijjah. Right? So you have like 6 days, 7 days. You're going to be in normal clothes, right? So you can do everything. You can do nafil tawaf. The most virtuous thing that you could do is do a lot of tawaf, a lot of tawaf, a lot of tawaf. The hadith mentions, the narration mentions that if a person does tawaf, he gets 60 times the ajr. If a person performs namaz, you get 40 times the ajr. And if you just look at the Kaaba, you get 20 times ajr. 60, 40, 20. All of this is a form of ibadah. If you're too tired to do tawaf, just do namaz, nafil namaz. If you're too tired to do nafil namaz, then at least sit in the haram and look at the Kaaba. You'll get reward for that also. Aside from that, person can do zikr, Quran tilawat, salawat upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or any good deed like that. So that's it. Your umrah is done and your stay is there. You're going to continue on like this until when? Until the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Right? You can put your ihram on before if you want to, but I don't know why anybody would want to.
Yeah.
You'd have to spend more time. Normally on the 8th is when the people now put your ihram for Hajj. Right? And don't get confused. You can wear the exact same ihram, the same cloth pieces. It doesn't have to be a different one. You don't need a second ihram cloth. You don't need to buy a new one. If that one's not dirty, you just washed it, use that one for your Hajj, but you have to come back into ihram. The same way that we discussed in the beginning, make your nafil namaz, make your niyyah, do your talbiyah and so forth. All of those things you're going to repeat again. The only difference is over there, your niyyah was, oh Allah, I intend to perform Umrah. Here you're going to say, oh Allah, I intend to perform Hajj. That's it. Right? So you're going to do your ihram the same way. The next difference is, over there you put your ihram in Istanbul airport. Here you're going to put your ihram on in the masjid. Right? Anywhere in the haram is fine for your ihram. This is the
hotel.
Hotel is fine too. This map right here is showing you all the places where it's permissible. This is Makkah. Tan'im is about 5 miles to the north. Right? Hudaybiyah is about 13 miles to the west. Arafah, the plains of Arafah is about 14 miles to the east. So anywhere inside this whole haram, your hotel is not even going to be that far. Anywhere inside here, you can put your ihram. But the best place is in the masjid itself. The best place. You're not going to wear your ihram there. Remember what I said, the clothes of ihram and the state of ihram? So you put on your towels in the hotel. But don't make your namaz and don't make your niyyah and don't do your talbiyah. Come to the masjid, do whatever that you got to do, pray your ishraq namaz, right? Some nafil namaz, and then make your niyyah from the masjid. Oh Allah, I'm getting into my ihram for Hajj, accept it from me, labaik Allahumma labaik, and you do it from over there. Now this is where you can make a decision, and I hope everybody will choose this because it'll make it easier for you, right? Specifically if you're a bit older, or if there's ladies, or if you have other issues. So what's the thing? That you have sa'i and you have your tawaf ziyarah, right? So Hajj has different elements. In the ihram of Hajj, you have to make sure you do a tawaf, a fard tawaf. That's called your tawaf ziyarah. In your ihram of Hajj, you have to make sure you do a sa'i, right? Normally, the way people do it is that you do your tawaf ziyarah, and after that tawaf, you do sa'i, just like an umrah. But it's super crowded. Super crowded. On that 10th, it's going to be like millions of people trying to do their sa'i and their tawaf at the same time. If you think it's going to be very difficult, there's one option that you have, that you can do your sa'i ahead of time. You can do your sa'i for Hajj ahead of time. Which means then later on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, you don't have to do your sa'i. You only just do your tawaf, right? If you want to do that, how do you do that? The way to do that is here. So as soon as you put on your ihram for Hajj, right? You were there in the masjid, You prayed 2 rakats nafil. Then what happens after that? Go do a nafil tawaf. Do a nafil tawaf in the ihram of Hajj, right? It's a nafil tawaf. It's not your tawaf ziyarah. It's not your fard tawaf. It's a nafil tawaf. You can do nafil tawaf. But since you're going to follow it with sa'i, then you have to make sure to do what? You have to do ramal and you have to do iztiba. So you expose your right shoulder and you have to do ramal for the first 3 rounds, but it's a nafil tawaf. When that tawaf is finished, like the previous tawaf how I showed you, then you're going to go for your sa'i. And then that sa'i, your intention is, I intend to perform my sa'i of Hajj, right? That means now the sa'i is finished. Now what happens? You go on and do your other actions of Hajj. Later on, you're going to see, inshallah, when it comes time to the 10th, when it comes time for your fard tawaf, you don't need to follow it with a sa'i. If you don't do it now, you're going to have to do it later. And when you do it later, it could get very crowded. It could.
The one particular thing with our particular group again, our hotel is actually close to Mina. Like it's in not Al Azizia, but in Shisha district, which is very close to Mina. So like on the 8th, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to come to Haram, actually Masjid al-Haram, to put like to make the niyat for the Ihram. That's what I mean. I'm not sure what we're doing on the side.
Where are you guys going to be on the 8th? When do you leave Makkah Mukarram?
On the 8th. I mean, our hotel, like we don't have like the hotel like Clock Tower or anything. Our hotel is actually in Shisha, where we get our shuttle comes to the.
From which date?
From beginning.
From beginning, 4th of like
From like this August 4th.
From
August 3rd, yeah.
So basically, you guys will take the shuttle to kind of come back to the Haram.
Yeah, so it's unlikely that on the 8th we're going to be able to come to the Haram to do the, probably do make the intention in one of the masjids there.
Okay.
Instead of coming to the Haram. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have to wait till.
Yeah, so just keep these things options open in your mind. You don't have to do the sa'i, right? The next option is going to be to make it easier for you. Don't do your tawaf ziyarah on the 10th. It's better, but it's super packed.
Yeah.
We did it on the 11th.
Yeah,
you have time. So on the 11th, it's less crowded. You can do your tawaf, you can do your sa'i, no problem. This is going to be up to your Hajj leaders, whatever they want to do. Yeah, so that you guys can do no problem, inshallah. So now Mina on the 8th. So since you guys are going to be there, you put on your ihram of Hajj. What is important things to do? The sunnah is to go to the Maidan of Mina for Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr. Those 5 namazes you want to be in your Mina area. You guys will have the hotel there? You already be there, right?
Yeah, so we can be our hotel is 15 minutes walk from Jamalat. But we're not about 10, so from Jamalat.
No problem. This is just before you. There's no stoning right now. So you're going to be in Mina for these 5 namazes. It's sunnah that you should try to be there. It's mustahab, not fard, not wajib, mustahab to pray these 5 namazes in Mina itself. And it's sunnah to spend the night there in Mina. Right? If for some reason you can't, okay, it's a little less rewarding.
Leave it before the Fajr sometimes. You have to leave after Fajr.
The Fajr of the next day for Arafat?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the leaving before is against the Sunnah.
Yeah.
If you leave after Sunnah, that's like what the Sunnah is. So if a person, for some reason, he had to leave before Fajr, okay, no problem, but it's just you get like less reward for it.
Yeah, there's, I heard that in something like in something that transported in this area, so like after Isha, they started
That's Allah forgive us all, but it becomes more of a thing of like, okay, let's make life easier, and sometimes it becomes for logistics, sometimes it's to get more hajis, more whatever. But if it's under your control, be like, the sunnah is for me to pray these 5 namazes in Mina. Spending the night is a sunnah, so we're going to spend the night here, and after Fajr we will leave for Arafat. We'll leave for Arafat after that. If for some reason, some legitimate reason, a person can't do that, like it's a sunnah, we've left out a sunnah, Allah forgive us, but there's no like dam or there's no like penalty. So there's nothing really to do. Let's just do your namazes and just get ready. Get ready for Arafat. There's not much more to do in Mina. Just rest and get yourself ready over there and Aram, that's it. So on the way there, during the wukuf, on your way to Mina, on your way to Arafat, during your wukuf at Arafat, what do we do then? If there's nothing else to do, do your labaik Allahumma labaik. The more you do that, the more rewarding your Hajj is going to be. Make a lot of dua, make a lot of zikr, read a lot of Quran, do all of those things that you would normally do. So this is like kind of like a free day, but don't waste it. Just make some form of your own personal ibadah. So that's Mina, the first part of Mina. Then the main part of Hajj comes now. After that Fajr, we're talking about the Fajr now on the 9th. So on the 8th Fajr, you were doing whatever you put your ihram on. So you prayed Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. Then the next day's Fajr, all in Mina. Then after Fajr, leave for the plains of Arafat. Get onto your bus. We're going to go towards Arafat. Now, what is the main? This is Hajj. Arafat is Hajj. If a person misses Arafat, he's missed Hajj. There's nothing you can do about it. So what are the basic requirements of the wukuf and staying at Arafat? To stay here for even a split second in the whole boundary of Arafat. See, this is all Arafat. This whole thing, it spans for like a huge span of, I don't know how many square miles this is going to be. All of this is going to be Arafat. You have to make sure that you're in this boundary for even one split second. From when? From after Zawal of the 9th, right? So after Fajr, you leave Mina and you try to make it into the boundaries of Arafat, and you try to make it there at least by Zawal time. If you get late, still not a problem. You should just try to make it there before you get the Fajr of the next day. If you miss any of this time, your Hajj is gone. But normally the ideal time is between Zawal and between Maghrib. Between Zawal and Maghrib. No, from Mina to Arafat. Yeah, so we prayed Fajr in Mina and we're leaving for Arafat. Let's say something happens. Allah forbid, the bus turns over, the bus is stalled, something happens. We can't miss Arafat. On a wheelchair, on a stretcher, somehow get to Arafat, get my body to Arafat, right? Now the question comes in, what time do I need to get there? If something happens, right? And it's even after Maghrib, because people leave Arafat Maghrib. But for us, we didn't make it there by Maghrib. It's still, we can still save our Hajj. Try to get there before Fajr. Get the body over there, get that area, right? So that's the main rukn. We're not saying that's the ideal way, but that's like in an emergency situation, guys. Yes, you drive in and you drive out. Done. Yes, the ambulances, they do that. Sometimes helicopters, they do that for people who have other problems. You just need to be in that spot for a split second between these times, right? So this is an emergency case. This is not the ideal. The sunnah is we make it there by Zawal, right? Zawal time.
And some people like saying that when you go to Arafat, some people try to be like before then, like the Zawal time, they keep themselves out from near to the exemplar border from the Arafat to start living. Like they're saying, okay, there'll be so crowded, so I'll be kind of like a border of that Arafat.
To make it easier, what I experienced is there's no real need. Okay. They've become very organized now.
You have to have be like when they say there's a mother trap, you have to then you can leave the Arafat.
Yes.
Before the death, you cannot leave the Arafat.
Yes. So when the sun sets, then we'll leave the Arafat. It's against the Sunnah. It's not good to leave before the Maghrib. Yes, you cannot do before. So that's the timing. So the idea is to try to make it there by Zawal time. If you can, on the map, I don't know if you can see it, there's a big circular area right over here, which is this thing zoomed in. So this is this Jabal al-Rahma, the mountain of mercy. So some people try to go right on the top of Jabal al-Rahma. That's not the Sunnah. It's like an innovation. It's kind of like a bid'ah. That's not, you don't need to go there. Yeah, so that's not, that's going to be very dangerous, especially on this kind of a thing. So you climb a little bit if you can. If it's too busy, too crowded, you don't even have to do that. We had found a spot somewhere around here. So it's good to try to get close to the mountain, but you can see how big it is. Your tent might be here.
Yeah.
When we went, it took us like 2.5 hours to walk there. 2.5 hours to walk there, and it was very hot. Very hot. This is a long time. Yeah, if you can reach it, it's good. Everybody else, I would say 90% of the people were in their tents somewhere over here. They were doing their dua over there, which is fine. This is just good. If you're young, you have the energy, you got the josh, you're like, dude, I want to go very close over there, then you do it, but it's not required, it's not mandatory. Anywhere here in this whole entire area, a person can make wuquf, even if you're way out over here. As long as there's the plains of Arafat, you have a tent over there, you make your dua, you do everything over there. There's tents all over the place. Depends on each group. I don't know.
Sure. Somebody told me that they had a regular one. Be prepared for that one.
Ours had AC.
Whatever we
Yeah.
have.
There's different ones. Yeah.
Sure.
Some of them are.
We don't have. Let's say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask our group leader on this one.
Yeah. So those things you'll kind of find out. If it has, it has. If it doesn't, has no problem. We're just there for dua anyway. Yeah. Yes, I'm going to show you the next picture. They're going to have these. So yeah, they have these little signs that will show you where.
Everything will be there.
Khutbah is only in the masjid. So the masjid, not everybody's going to fit.
Okay.
Right? So there's specific rules if you're going to go to the masjid. Right? So we're going to do that on the next page. Here, there's one thing to be careful. I put this little red dot over here. There's a place where you cannot stay. That's outside of Arafah. It's called Batn Arna or Wadi Arna. So it's a specific valleyway indented down. No, you won't see anybody staying there. They'll probably be fenced off. So your wuquf there will not count, but nobody's tent is there anyway. Back in the day, nobody knew, so that's why I put that. So here's the points. This picture that I have put here, this is Masjid Namira. This is the masjid in Arafah.
Okay.
Right? At Zawal time, when you left Mina at Fajr, at Zawal time, if you can make it here, because it cannot fit everybody. It cannot fit every single Haji. It's better to be at Masjid Namira. If you make it to this masjid, then what happens is that the Imam of Hajj, either he or his appointee will lead the namaz. They'll lead Zuhr, and they will lead Asr, and they'll combine Zuhr and Asr. Right? He's going to read 2 rakats of Dhuhr, and then immediately after that, he's going to read 2 rakats of Asr. But before that, Qasr, and before that, he'll give like a khutbah. If you make it there for that, then you follow the Imam. You do 2 rakats of Dhuhr, and you do 2 rakats of Asr, you listen to the khutbah, you do all of those things. If you don't make it for this Jamaat, you do not combine Zuhr and Asr. Combining Zuhr and Asr at Arafah is only behind the Imam of Hajj, not in your own tent. People sometimes have this confusion, hey, we're in Arafah, we're supposed to combine, so there's 5 brothers doing Jamaat and they're combining. No. This is only behind the Imam of Hajj at Masjid Namira with very strict conditions. If we don't get this one, then we do Zuhr and Zuhr time and Asr time. Right? No Jamaat. You can do Jamaat, but like Zuhr Jamaat separate and then Asr separate like that. Yes. Yeah. 2 rakats, because you guys will be musafirs, right?
Yeah.
Better to make ghusl if you can around Zawal time. But there's not going to be many showers. They're depending on your tents and your location if they have. For your wuquf at Arafat, if you can, take a nice shower. That's sunnah. If you can't do that, at least make wudu. So anyway, then the point comes, if one makes it to Masjid Namira early, you're able to pray with the Imam and you're able to listen to the khutbah, then you're going to pray your Zuhr and your Asr, you'll combine it with the Imam. Right? Doing this Jama' Bain as-Salatain, it's sunnah. It's not wajib. You don't have to do Jama' Bain as-Salatain. It's sunnah. If you do it, it's good. If you don't do it, it's like not that you have to do it. But there's preconditions for it, like I mentioned. Precondition number 1, you have to be in Arafah on the 9th. This is one precondition. Number two, you have to be behind the regular imam, the imam of Hajj. Right? There's an appointed imam of Hajj every single year. Or if he's not there, whoever he makes a deputy to lead on his behalf. The next third condition is you have to be in ihram. So a non-muhrim cannot do this jama bayna salatain in Masjid Namira because sometimes you have workers there and stuff like that. So for them, there's no jama bayna salatain. You have to be in ihram. Next condition, the prayer must be in jamaat. You can't do your own individual. You missed the namaz, you're in your tent, you woke up, you're like, I'm going to do my own. There's no jama bayna salatain on your own. It has to be in that congregation. The next condition is that Zuhr has to be prayed before Asr. You can't just say, since I'm doing jama bayna salatain, Asr first, then Zuhr. No. So that's another condition. If any of these conditions is missing, then those combining of prayers will not be valid, right? Now this is a point of caution. This one, not very many people will tell you about. This you have to be really careful. For me, I don't really go to Masjid Namira. I do not join because again, it's sunnah, it's not wajib, right? The potential for your namaz not counting is very high. Why is that? That imam that's going to be in Masjid Namira, right, who has been appointed the deputy to lead that namaz, a lot of times that imam is not a musafir. That imam is an imam of that locality. That imam will pray 2 rakats. And we're like, what is this? When are you able to pray 2 rakats when you're not a musafir? According to them, they're like, it's fine. According to us, we're like, it's not fine. There's no dalil for it, right? So how are you going to know if your imam is a musafir or not? Do you know who that imam is? Did you even hear his khutbah? Did you even see what he looked like? You're praying outside over here somewhere, right? But they do announce who the imam is. If you speak Arabic, if you check the websites, if you do those things, you do research, who's going to do all that, right? But time and again, it has been this thing that this imam is a local imam of that place and he's doing only 2 rakats. The namaz will not count. According to us, your namaz will not count. So I don't want to risk it. Me personally, I don't want to risk it. I don't go to do this particular namaz. I'll do my own namaz in Jamaat, Zuhr in its Zuhr time, and then Asr in its Asr time. You know, there's nothing wrong for you to do like that in your own tent. But since we're Musafirs, we do 2 and then 2. Not necessary. Not necessary. Not necessary.
So is it okay if someone does it and sit after them?
For ihtiyat, if you want to be cautious, no problem. Yeah, it's not a problem. If you're like, you have shak, you're like, I don't know the possibility, or somebody told you like that, no problem. But for me, it's like time is short. It's very, very short.
And it takes a long time to go.
Yes, and you might not even get a spot because again, it cannot fit every single crowd. Once you get there, you're gonna see your Hajj leader, imam is gonna be like, you're not going. You know, we don't have for you to walk there. It might take you like 3 hours to walk there from your tent. Something.
People making sujood this way?
Exactly.
That way?
Yeah.
I think it's this way, no?
What else?
This way, right?
Is this way?
So they are ahead of the imam?
That's separate.
It's that way. But yes, don't worry about the picture. Yeah. So anyways, for this point, that's why I said sometimes the imam is not a musafir and prays qasr, which is not allowed, you know, for the Hanafi to follow because it's not going to be accepted. So for precaution, it's better to make one's own individual jamaat for Zuhr in its own time and Asr in its own time. Whatever is munasib, whatever is separate, as long as it's in that thing, whatever you feel comfortable with, because you'll be in your tent. It's unimaginable that you will make dua from Zuhr time all the way till Maghrib.
Yeah.
You're going to take some break, something to eat, something to take a quick nap, and so forth. So on Arafat day, as much as you can, with as much fervor, you engage in dua, you engage in ibadah, but you're going to have to take some time out, you know, for your rest and so forth, and your lunch breaks as well. So just time it according to your own haqiqi, actual. So this is the sign where it shows you Arafat starts here. These signs are all over the place. So just make sure you're on the right side of those signs. Okay? And this is the picture of what Jabal Rahma looks like if you can kind of get there. Again, it's not good to climb so high up there. That is not the sunnah. People think that if I get way up on top, I'm going to get the most reward. In reality, you're not going to. You're doing something against the sunnah. It's a lot of wasted effort and time and energy and putting people at risk. So anyway, after the prayers of Zuhr and Asr, you will take your place outside of the masjid for wuquf if you're in the masjid, at Masjid Namira. But if you're in your tent is already outside. So find a place for you. Go over there and get ready to make a lot of dua. Some people will make an ijtimai dua after the Dhuhr, if they prayed on the Dhuhr, take a break, lunch break, whatever, then wait for Asr Namaz, and after Asr Namaz, and all the way till Maghrib, then they engage in a lot of dua, like that.
Better to do ijtimai dua or like in Fadi?
It's between up to you and what you feel at that particular moment. For me, I don't feel the ijtimai dua. I feel like I need my own personal things, my own hajat and all those things. I don't feel ijtimai dua. I don't feel it. You know, it's good for some people who don't know many duas and they need somebody. Like for me, my duas are finished after 5 minutes. He's like, well, what do I do? Then go, some imam is going to make ijtimai dua, say Ameen. So some people are like that. Other people are like, my list will not end. You know, I need 5 hours to make all the duas. So that's going to waste my time. And the whole time I'm not listening to what the imam is saying, I'm doing my own thing. So you can decide for you what's going to work better for you. Yeah. So try to get close to the mountain, but don't climb the mountain if you can make it. If you can't do that, just stay in your tent. You face the Qibla. Not because that's the direction for your dua. Which way is Qibla in Arafat? In America, which direction is Qibla? Northeast. When you're over there, you're like, astaghfirullah, I never thought about this. Where's Qibla? So from Arafat, the Qibla is going to be northwest. So if you're in your tent and you have your phones, so if you want to find Qibla, somebody will show you the namaz place anyway. So face Qibla and make your dua towards the Qibla. Make as much dua as possible. You can praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, send durood and salawat upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do your talbiyah, all of those things like that until sunset. Spend the whole entire time making dua and beseeching Allah. Standing is good, but you can't stand the whole time. So when you want the core part of your dua, go outside, preferably outside of your tent. Stand on the plains over there with your hands up. See how these people, they're all standing. So you can't stand the whole time. So maybe sometime make your dua sitting, grab a snack, go to the bathroom, make wudu, make namaz. But when it's your real time that you set aside, that this is it, this is my Arafat wuquf, it's better to stand for as long as you can. If you have leg problems, stuff, no problem, then you can sit. If you can, it's good. You can sit. You can even lie down. Make dua lying down on the bed. You know, some people are elderly, no problem. Just make dua. You can even sleep if you have to. This is still your wuquf. Some people are very sick. Just be there. Right. So the niyyah is not a shart, but it's preferable for your niyyah. Oh Allah, I intend to make wuquf of Arafah. It's good if you make the niyyah, but you don't have to. If a woman is in hayd or if a man is in janaba, this is not going to nullify your wuquf. If you went to sleep, something happened in your dream, don't worry, your Arafat is still valid. Just go take a ghusl, no problem. But it's preferable to be in wudu, mustahab. It is wajib to stay until sunset, like we mentioned earlier. Don't leave before sunset, right? It's wajib. If you leave before sunset, guess what? You're going to have a penalty, dam. If one leaves before, he must come back before sunset. If he doesn't come back before sunset, you have to slaughter a sheep.
They say like something how you don't like this exact time now. Some people like that. There's something that's
Everybody has these phones nowadays which have those like sunset calculators and those things, but you can also see it because it's outside. It's pretty clear.
Some people say they like some fire light from the air, and then means the time to go out.
Maybe different places will have different things because it's so big.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge, so different localities.
The light on the air. Yeah.
Maybe some places might. I didn't see anything like that. We just had our phones, and I just put in the location of. Even if you want to leave right at sunset, you won't be able to because the buses are going to be in a big old line. You'll be stuck because again, it's not from your tent. You're leaving from the boundary of Arafat, which could be 20 minutes way after. By the time your bus turn comes, we leave. So I wouldn't worry about that. You'll be there, inshallah. Yeah. One important thing: do not pray your Maghrib. Do not pray your Maghrib there. Your Maghrib will not count. The sun set, I have to pray Maghrib. No. You do not pray your Maghrib. Wait until you reach where you're going to in Muzdalifa. You pray your Maghrib over there, even if it's an Isha time. Even if it's 1 in the morning, you'll pray your Maghrib over there. What's the question? Yes, it's all there. Just follow the signs. The boundaries are legit. Once you've left after sunset, without praying Maghrib, you go to Muzdalifa. Muzdalifa is just a place, right? Your bus driver will show you where's Muzdalifa. It's just a place, and there's nothing there. There's no masjid. There's no nothing. I mean, you'll find stores. You'll find things. You just have to spend the night there. You spend the night there in the open air. There's no hotel. There's no nothing. You'll need your yoga mat.
Yeah.
See these people? It's just them. The buses are looking for any place. They'll pull over on the side of an exit, and there's going to be like musalla carpets over there, and like, this is it. Like, what do you mean this is it? This is it.
Yeah.
Spend the night. So just you and your backpack and whatever you packed. Food, whatever you can have with you. There's no food. There's no tents. So that becomes, your bars, granola bars, Cliff bars, water. You'll have to have like a good Hajj leader that will take care of these things for you, have snack boxes and so forth. Because basically at the nighttime, you might reach there, let's say 10 p.m., right? 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And it's just you might have access to your bus, you might not, but you have your backpack. So then you take out your yoga mat. You take your out pillow. You're going to sleep outside over there pretty much the whole night. And there's nothing to do, really. You pray your Maghrib and your Isha, and then you just make dua, you rest, you sleep, you do all of those things like that. The main part of wuquf of Muzdalifa is like after Fajr. You have to be in Muzdalifa for a split second after that Fajr. Not just a night. You can't leave before Fajr, right? To go to Mina and stuff like that. No, you're going to stay there for a split second after Fajr. It doesn't have to be long. You know, if you stay long, the sunnah and mustahab ways is to do all these things. You go there in Muzdalifa, you recite your talbiyah, zikr, salawat, dua, Quran, whatever. If you can, try to have a bath, but very mushkil. It depends on where your tent is, you know, and so forth. Morning of the 10th. Yes. Yes. You have to for a second, Fajr of the 10th.
So Fajr, that's you. I mean, just asking out of this. That's the time when the Fajr comes in, or that's the time when you pray Fajr?
Time when Fajr comes in. Yes. Yes. So try to pray as soon as you arrive in Muzdalifa. Obviously, when everybody makes wudu and all those things like that. So where's your qibla going to be? It's just wherever your bus driver finds a place to park.
Okay. So you have no water access?
Sometimes you might not know. It's like literally, like imagine we went on a bus trip and we stopped at not even a rest stop. We just stopped along the highway somewhere. So that's for us.
We will show you like this is this area of the border of them.
He's just going to find a place to park. No cop is going to bother him. And you just go out there on those rocks and you sleep.
If you don't have water,
you have to, no, you can't do tayammum because water will be around.
Yeah.
Cases of water, keep cases of water with you. We would do wudu with just bottles like this.
Yeah.
You know, so make sure in the bus you keep those bottles of water, and you do the.
No, you have to get out of the bus.
Sleeping in the bus, you can if you want to, but it gets very hot inside. You know, you don't want to sleep in the bus. It's worse with all that kind of stuff, crowding, carbon. Yeah. So most likely, what the bus driver is going to do, he's going to leave you there. He's like, I'm going to come and pick you up after Fajr. Because yeah. It depends. Those are things that's like logistics. It's up to their Hajj company, right? Whatever they do. So anyway, so try to pray as soon as you get there. Qibla is going to be to your west or northwest or just the northwest. You can use your Qibla locator things to try to find out, or your satellite imagery to figure out where you are, because there's nobody going to. There's like no masjid. There's no bathroom facilities. If you parked in a good area, you might find something. But wallahu alam. But anyway, once you do the namaz, this is the way you're going to do the namaz: one adhan and one iqamah. One adhan and one iqamah, right? For Maghrib and Isha, followed by the sunnah of Maghrib, Isha, and Witr, right? That you're going to do it in that particular tartib. Next point, it's better to perform it in Jamaat, but it's not mandatory. If you're going to be taking too long, the Jamaat, you can say, you go ahead, I'm going to be in the bathroom for the next 20 minutes, you guys pray, I'll pray by myself. It's not mandatory, you can do it by yourself too. The first time for these prayers is at Isha time, right? Wait until Isha time sets, then combine Maghrib with Isha. You cannot do Isha in Maghrib's time. You have to do Maghrib in Isha's time, not the other way around. So get there by Isha time, do Maghrib, then Isha. You have all the way until Fajr to do this, right before, but earlier is better.
So even if
You can't, you have to wait. You have to wait. So praying these two prayers together is wajib. There is no need for the Imam of Hajj, or there's no need for Jamaat. Even by yourself, you pray Maghrib, then Isha, and Isha's time. If somebody prays before reaching Muzdalifa, you have to repeat it in Muzdalifa. That prayer, it's not going to count for you. Maghrib must be done before Isha, so that order has to be there. If one prays Isha namaz first, then you'll repeat that Isha after you pray. Right? So these are points just to kind of remember. Question comes in, what if you don't? What if you don't repeat it? If Fajr comes in, then that's it. It's done. It goes. But if you have time before, you tell somebody, you say, hey, you have to repeat it. You have to do that before the Fajr time sets in. So anyway, you spend the entire night praising Allah, making zikr, making salah, nafil namaz, tahajjud, dua, etc. That's what you're going to do there at night. Or you can sleep. It's depending on how much energy you have. Some say this night is more virtuous than Laylatul Qadr, so don't waste it. Don't be like, oh, I'm just going to sleep. I tried, I couldn't fall asleep. I tried. I'm like, I'm tired. You spent the whole day in Arafah, but I just couldn't fall asleep. It's hot, it's muggy. So you're like, well, if it is what it is, let me just pray, right? And then you're going to see the sleep will come. Anyway, Muzdalifa on the 9th. So one should try to pray Fajr at the awwal waqt. And you're going to want to, because you want to get out of there. So pray Fajr in the awwal waqt. Don't wait like how we Hanafis normally wait 5 minutes before sunrise to bring up Fajr. Pray 5 minutes after Fajr time comes in, right? Preferably in Jamaat. Then you do your wuquf of Muzdalifa. You stay in Muzdalifa, preferably from dawn, from Fajr all the way till sunrise, right? Preferably from dawn until sunrise. But most people, they stay there like 5-10 minutes and then they're like, let's go. I've done the basic necessity, let's go. So it's wajib to spend at least some time in Muzdalifa in any condition, whether you're sleeping, whether you're awake, whether you know, whether you don't know, your body has to be there, just like Arafah. If you miss your wuquf, if you don't make it in Muzdalifa at this time, then it's fine, you can give dam. You slaughter a sheep, because I missed my Muzdalifa. In Arafah, that doesn't work. Arafah, you missed Hajj, right? If the rush is too severe in Muzdalifa, like there's bodies all over the place, right? And the women are like, how are we going to do this? I'm in a sea of men. I can't just do this, right? Or for the elderly that are this thing, then if they don't perform this wuquf at Muzdalifa, then there's no penalty on the women. So you have to judge the situation. So during the wuquf,
they would just go back to Iman.
Yes. You have to assess the situation to see that, look, our women can't stay over here. You see, it's just not possible. Yeah. So elderly, the women and stuff like that, for them, there will be no dam. So during your wuquf, after Fajr, you do your talbiyah, do zikr.
Women and after that,
Sick people, those people like that. Yeah, if they can't make it for some reason like that, they carry on, go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
The wuquf should not be done in the valley of Muhassar. There's a specific valley called Wadi al-Muhassar. That is a place where the elephant, Ashab al-Fil, that is the place where they were destroyed over there. There's going to be signs, don't make wuquf over there. If your bus driver is there, say, hey, this is valley of Muhassar, stay away from there. Another thing to do in Muzdalifa, collect your stones for Mina. This is a good place. You have nothing else to do, right? So you're like, let me grab my stones. So if you're going to stay there for the entire time, right, you're going to do all days of stoning, then you need 70 pebbles. If you're going to skip out on the last day and leave a bit earlier, you're not going to do stoning on the 13th, then you're going to collect 49 pebbles. So just do 70. You never know. You never intended to stay, but something happens, you wind up staying. You can always leave extra there. So grab your pebbles. You normally just grab a water bottle and you put pebbles inside there and count. Okay? And you can grab more. Just make sure you have enough. You can just fill that whole thing, like here's a bottle of pebbles. There's 120, no problem. You can have some leftover for your friends in case they run out or something happens. So grab your pebbles from there. The shart of the pebbles is that to just make sure that you're not taking it from private property. Like a person has a nice gravel bed. So don't steal pebbles. Make sure there's no najasat on it. And don't take it from any masjid, any waqf property. And don't take it from Mina's Jamarat area. Right? Any other kind of things you can take, no problem, inshallah. So anyway, we'll stop on this page. The Haji then can leave for Mina after the wuquf and before sunrise. You don't have to wait till sunrise, right? So after you've made your wuquf for however much long that you want to, then you guys leave for your tent at Mina. Then you just move on to Mina, inshallah. So the adhan for Isha is going. So what do we do here now? Do we continue after Isha? There's basically the Rami of Mina. There's more Mina. There's sacrifice, shaving, Tawaf al-Ziyara, Rami at Mina, 11th, 12th, Tawaf al-Wida. I think it's going to take like another at least half an hour.
If someone wants to do it tonight, or just do it on Sunday or something?
We can do it on Sunday, I think. I think people might be tired.
Okay.
It's going to be too late.
So we'll just kind of whatever time works with Muslim. I can coordinate on Sunday. We can do this.
Everybody just goes on and go to meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to take me at least another half an
We'll
hour.
just do it from home then on Sunday.
Yeah.
We'll
Coordinate on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
So basically we've gotten up to Muzdalifa.
Yeah.
Now the only thing that's left is all of the ahkam pertaining to Mina, which is basically stoning, doing qurbani of your sheep, and shaving and halq of the head, and your tawaf al-ziyara is remaining, and your tawaf al-wida is remaining. So that'll take me about at least another half an hour. Tonight's probably too late. So Sunday sometime, coordinate, let me know what's a good time, and we'll everybody do go to meeting, inshallah. Okay. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah.